All right. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm glad that you're watching AfriqTv. This is our open political talk show, a show that comes on your screen every day. That is from 10 p.m. up to midnight. So, welcome on board. Today, I'm your host, Leo Jabaya. And of course, as we're winding up the week, I know a lot has happened. We've had a week full of political activities, and we've seen our politicians running along and across the country making some political statements. We've seen those politicians whom we believed had ceased active politics, like Charity Kaleki Ngilu, reappearing. So, could it be there's something that is happening, or there's something that is going to happen? So, welcome. And today we are going to be winding the week, as we are going to be looking at various political statements that have been made and various political developments that have made. There are so many that has happened. There's a lot that has happened. So if you're joining me for the first time, as I always tell you, start by subscribing to our channel. I know some of you are joining us from Tembei TV. If you're joining from Tembei TV or you're joining from AfriqTv, ensure that you click on the subscribe button, subscribe, turn on the notification bell, and also invite a friend to do so. So, top on the stories, there's a lot that have happened in the country. And for those people who love sports, you saw today there was a ground breaking of what is known as the famous Talenta Hela Stadium. This one is in preparation for the next, that is 2027 CAF, or the African Confederation Cup, that is going to be played, AFCON, sorry, that is going to be played in Kenya. Remember that AFCON is going to be played in three East African countries. The bidding was jointly done by Kenya, Uganda, and Tanzania. So there are some games that will be played in Kenya, some in Uganda, and some in Tanzania. So this one will not be actually realized until we prepare and show the Confederation Department that we are ready for the games. Apart from that, in the world of politics, we also saw the president and the premier, or the prime minister of Haiti, signing an agreement so that Kenya can be able to deploy their police to go and restore some peace and sanity in Haiti. And it's interesting that the Haitians, the gangs controlling this country, after seeing that agreement, they said that they dared their prime minister to get back to the country. And actually, right now, they've captured like the police stations and the major airports, and they are daring their prime minister to get back to the country. So I don't know if our soldiers will be able to access, or our police will be able to access that land. We've also seen some political sentiments that have been made. Today, the former prime minister, Right Honorable Raila, was in some parts of Siaya, and he made some comments that appear like he was opposing the affordable housing scheme, and he's saying that the matters of housing lies within the county government. So that is the role of devolution, and the national government should not interfere with the devolution. And of course, that is what is forming part of our discussion today. Raila Odinga is back to opposing William Ruto's policies. And as that one happened, something interesting, those in Nairobi, they've been given 6 months to vacate. The ones who've been living in the government, if you've been living in the government houses, I know there are some places that have there are places that have been marked, and to pave way for the affordable houses, the residents in these places have been told by the PS, that is Hinga, I think is the PS housing, so that they need to vacate this place and pave way for the development of the affordable houses. So that and many other stories that are hitting the headlines will make part of our conversation. So if you so wish to join me in this debate, then it's simple. You can make me, you can let me know where you're joining from, or also know your concerns through the comment section there. But I'm also sharing a link on the comment section that can bring you direct to the studio. So you can use the link that I've shared in all those comment sections in your platforms, whether you're joining through Facebook or you're joining us through the other side of TikTok or the other side of YouTube. Just click on the link, then you'll find yourself in the studio. And as you're joining, ensure you start by liking the video and sharing. So far, you can see Imotax. Yeah, Imontax Lawrence have already liked the video and shared. That is really great. So let me show you some of the things that happened. I'll start by telling you what happened. That is the president and the premier of Haiti signing some MOU, a bilateral agreement that will see Kenyan police going to restore peace in Haiti. So your take on this, your view on this will be highly appreciated. So have a watch this.
Gangs
pour défendre des causes politiques.
To defend political causes.
Et progressivement, ces gangs sont devenus autonomes.
And then progressively, those gangs, they became autonomous.
Check. Professeur Lola.
Professor Lola.
Tout protocole observé.
And all the protocol observed.
Je voudrais ce matin remercier le gouvernement de la République du Kenya.
I would like this morning to thank the entire government of Kenya
de m'avoir accueilli dans ce beau pays.
To have welcomed me in this beautiful country.
Je remercie également la direction de l'université.
I really thank the staff of this university.
De l'opportunité qu'elle m'a donnée.
Of the opportunity that this university has given to me.
Pour la visiter.
To visit it.
Et pour adresser la parole ce matin.
And to address the speech this morning.
J'ai été étonnamment et agréablement surpris.
I was astonished and I was astonished to see the welcome that you gave us.
To see, non, to see the existence. Oh, pardon, excusez-moi. Pour voir sur le campus.
I was astonished to see in this campus
un comité de solidarité avec Haïti.
A committee of solidarity with Haiti.
La République d'Haïti est située dans l'océan Atlantique.
The Republic of Haiti is located at the Atlantic Ocean.
À la bordure de la mer des Caraïbes.
In the area of the West Indies.
La République d'Haïti occupe la moitié de l'île avec une autre république qui est à côté, qui est.
All right, guys, I know the video is long, and because some of you don't get anything from French, so waiting for the translation, I'll save you the time and maybe just to inform you that the video is just part of the meeting that was held by the Kenyan president and the Haitian premier. And one of the agreements, or one of the bilateral agreements that they had, is that Kenya is going to deploy their police to go and help them in restoring sanity. Remember, this is a country that has really been captured by gangs, and the gangs are not foreigners. They are members of that state, and they feel that the government is not doing them some justice. So they are really trying to sabotage the government and to ensure that the country is ungoverned. So the Kenyan police are going to try and restore peace and ensure that they can be able to give back the government, because even the premier doesn't have they don't have any power. The guys have really overpowered them. Karibu sana. I can see Robbie Oleshumpai. Welcome. A long time I've not been seeing you. Welcome on board. For those people asking, no, people have been saying that the president have been giving promises, and these promises are turning out to be hot air. Some even trace it back to 2014 when we were promised about 9 stadiums in different parts of this country, something that costed us from hosting the Sekafa tournament because we weren't prepared. So today is a great day as there was a groundbreaking. The president was in attendance, and the cabinet secretary of sport, that is one of our own, Ababu Atera Namwamba. So they had a groundbreaking of this famous Talanta Hela Stadium. So I can allow you to see some of the events that took place during the groundbreaking, and we're also going to look at its implication, even as I welcome Goodyear. Nice.
We are calling this the Talanta Sports City, and Your Excellency, because we intend to develop this place into more than just a stadium. That is the total hectareage of the project. This is intended to be a 60,000 capacity stadium. Those are the details, Your Excellency. This is the floor plan of how the project is supposed to be. One thing I wish to mention and point out to you, Your Excellency, is that some work had been done on this site. Some developments had been done here, and we have made effort to save everything that was developed here. We're going to have a total of 7 changing rooms, which is the top tier of the international requirements. These are the VVIP room. Again, under the FIFA requirements, we have been very particular in terms of dimensions, the quality of both the VIP and the VVIP areas. Karibu Mheshimiwa Rais kuweza kuvunja the ardhi. Ataelekezwa na sergeant wetu kutoka the Kenya Defence Forces.
All right, guys, that was the groundbreaking. Yeah, so the Talanta Hela City is set, and if this one is achieved, I think this is one of the good things that will have to be attributed to our able CS sports, that is Ababu Namwamba. You know, getting a 60-seater stadium is not a joke. Remembering the shortest time that we are having like less than 3 years, and we need to see the stadium set and moving. There was a lot of activities. Some of them were so funny and so interesting. I can see Guji saying that Ruto could make a great footballer. I was impressed by his press-ups. So let me just play that one for you so that we see if this kind of press-ups can make a good footballer.
Tuka nje ya uwanja, mechi yetu ya AFCON ya ufunguzi inaanza. Ni mechi yetu ya AFCON. Goalkeeper wetu akiwa ni Waziri Ababu Namwamba, na kapteni wa timu ya Kenya Daktari William Ruto. Kapteni anaangalia apige wapi. Kapteni anaangalia apige wapi. Kapteni wa timu ya Kenya Daktari William Ruto. Mahanjam. Goalkeeper Ababu Namwamba alikuwa amemwagwa. Alikuwa amepelekwa shopping. Moja. Kapteni Dr. William Ruto. Mashallah. Kapteni wa timu ya taifa la Kenya Daktari William Ruto ameipatia timu ya Kenya bao la ushindi. Penalti ambayo imepigwa na Daktari William Ruto, kapteni wa timu ya Kenya, imemwaga goalkeeper Waziri Ababu Namwamba na akapelekwa shopping. Timu ya Kenya bao moja, Wizara 0. Washindi kapteni wetu Daktari William Ruto, hongera, na timu nzima ya taifa la Kenya tunasema hongera.
What happened on the groundbreaking, and I will also not do justice if I fail to mention this. We also saw there was a demonstration by the KMPD, that is the Kenya Medical and Practitioners and Dentists Union, whereby the Secretary General actually got some injuries, and this is something that has been condemned. The act of the police that led to the injury of people who are demonstrating They were just demonstrating peacefully without even carrying stones, like those other people. Yeah, you know them, like the other guys normally do. And right now, the medics have given a 44-hour ultimatum to the government to address the issue of the medical interns, and nothing. They're saying that nothing will deter them and will stop them from going to the streets, just as they went yesterday. So maybe you can also be able to see how things happen.
Responsible for this unjustifiable act of force against peaceful protesters. Amnesty Kenya stands in solidarity with KMPDU, its Secretary General, and all those who advocate for human rights. The safety of all individuals engaged in peaceful protest must be guaranteed, and those responsible for violating these rights must be held accountable. We call on the Kenya government to take immediate action to prevent any reoccurrence of such incidents and to demonstrate its commitment to the principles of democracy and respect for human rights. That's the end of our statement.
Thank you, John.
Should we let you pass first? Okay. So we are here as the Kenya Medical Association, as the umbrella doctors body in the country, alongside our colleagues from the Kenya Dental Association and Pharmacists Society of Kenya. So I'll go ahead and read our statement. The Kenya Medical Association is the umbrella professional body, as I've said, and our mandate is to look at the welfare of our members and also advocate for quality healthcare in our country. The KMA, alongside other doctors, condemn the recent act of police brutality against Dr. Davji Bimji, the Secretary General and CEO of Kenya Medical Practitioners, Pharmacists and Dentists Union, an unarmed Kenyan citizen, as you may all have seen, who was advocating for the rights of our young doctors, exhibited via the peaceful, legal demonstrations. Violence against healthcare professionals is an...
All right, guys, that is what happened. So maybe joined by one of our own, that is Boniface Kimanzi. So maybe before I engage Boniface, to give him time to just say hi to our viewers. I'm also seeing the comments are coming over. Thank you so much, Ole Shumpai, Goodia, and the rest. Keep it clean. Ensure that the comments that you're giving doesn't in any way violate somebody's right. And the comments are people's own opinion. We at Afriq, we are not the owners of the comments that you're seeing flowing on your screen. So not last, but just to touch on another thing that also happened that, we will be able to talk of it later, is that we had the elections of the Law Societies of Kenya. That is the LSK, and Faith Odhiambo is now the new president. You know how the elections were hotly contested, and there are some people who lost, and somebody also felt that he lost because people perceived him to be a state-sponsored candidate. So we are going to look into that, why people nowadays don't want to be associated with the state, because there's one of the candidates, the one who came second. He said, I simply lost simply because I was perceived to be a state-sponsored candidate. So we are going to look at that. Remember, before that, Faith Odhiambo was serving as a vice president of the society. That was ahead of the polls that were done on Thursday. And she really managed to beat the people who are competing against her, because she was number one with 3,113 votes, followed closely by Mr. Wanyama, who had 2,165, and claimed that he lost because people perceive him to be a state-sponsored. Other people also contested. We also had Kamende, who got around 888, Ngetich got 833, Mboche 511 votes. So all these gentlemen conceded defeat, and we now have the new president. That is President Odhiambo. So karibu sana Boniface, good evening. And you're upside down. Mr. Kimanzi, can you hear me? Boniface, okay. As Boniface is preparing his gadgets, I will also want to bring into your attention that what is happening is that based on the affordable housing, the PS named some affected areas that includes the Jogoo Road, that is phase 1 and 2, Jamaa, Mbotela, Ahero, and Mawenzi Gardens. So these are places where the occupants of the government houses there are expected to pave way for the construction of affordable housing. And they've been given a notice of 6 months. And by April 30th, 2024, they're expected to leave those houses so that the government can be able to build affordable houses. So if you're living in those areas, be notified that the notice has been given, so that you don't wait for the final day and say that, oh, you are not notified. So the notice have been given. They need to vacate and pave way for the affordable housing. So those are some of the things that are making headline, and we just want to weigh on each of them. Starting with affordable housing, we know this is something that has always been a thorn in William Ruto's flesh. And the president did confirm that Liwe Liwalo, the project will continue, and it has to reach its final stage, and it has to be implemented. Yeah, this is despite chaos that I've been seeing in parliament when people are trying to pass it. But the experts have been having different opinions. I'll show you what was said by some economic expert, that is Kwame Owino, concerning the affordable housing. It's drawn the attention and interest of politicians who've weighed on it, some supporting it as a good thing, and some also opposing it. So I just want to look at this
bill. And of course, the finance bill is what defines how the government is planning to collect revenue to finance their budget. Just seen some of the estimates, they're talking about 4.5 trillion shillings in terms of overall budget. But the budget for the national government or the country is 3.67 trillion shillings. So if you have the housing levy in the finance bill, is that proper that you have it in a finance bill, yet it is not something that is in the budget?
No, but please let me just start with this. Kenyans, anybody who has a chance to listen to me, I'm not an elected member of parliament, I'm not seeking election, and I don't work for government. Let me tell you, this is a bad idea. I'm not going to say this is a good idea implemented well. I have to be circumspect and I have to be clear. It's a bad idea. Why? Members of parliament have come here and have told us that this will be a low-cost housing for people who have... There's already a high-cost housing subsidy in Kenya. It's given to members of parliament and people who work in the public sector. They can take mortgages of up to 9 million or thereabouts, and it is funded by you through your taxes. Now, if government wants to build houses for people who live in slums or who are poorer people, that's not a bad thing. Article 43 of the Constitution, just like phrases in the Bible, are misused a lot in Kenya today. The Constitution says that people have a right to housing and other rights. It does not say that government has to force us to pay for it. So Kenya's housing problem is not a problem. There are 14 million houses in Kenya of different qualities, from people who have golf courses next to their houses to the ones that we've seen on TV, which would make you weep if your relatives lived in them. But the problem is not a housing problem. Right here in Nairobi and in this city where we are, there are houses that are actually unoccupied. The problem is that people don't have enough income to be able to pay for it. So we are defining this problem wrong, because the PSS and people who you are listening to in that other studio have made commitments to people who are supposed to construct houses and give them free land to do that. So we are solving the wrong problem. But let me come to what you've told us. It is also true that if government wanted us to pay for housing and is telling me, for instance, I'm a little privileged, thanks to my employers, so I would not qualify for this housing. I'm not a rich man, but thanks to my employers, I wouldn't qualify. What that means essentially is this. My employer is being taxed, but we're being told it's not a tax. My employer is being taxed, and they'll pay the maximum amount of 2,500, which will be saved for me, and in 7 years or so, I'll have to take out that money or maybe not. The interest rates here are above what government is borrowing at. Government is borrowing at 11 or 12% today. So obviously what this is doing is taxes are being used to redistribute. Redistribution is not a bad thing, but let's not redistribute money among Kenyans through lies. All those complicated things you're hearing here are complete misstatements. And if you put all this money together and the flows over time, this is a fund that would collapse in 7 years.
Just hold on, Kwame. You say that the government officers have made commitments to others, and that's why they have to push this through to finance those. Could you substantiate that?
I am saying the only people who would benefit, and the PS said this clearly here, that they already have people they're calling investors, but are not putting their own money. Those investors are being asked to construct with the certainty that this fund will cover the risk by paying them. If this housing idea was a good idea, the same private investors we are talking about would not need government. They'd simply tell government, guys, let us construct the houses, and then you guys, anybody would offtake. We have an offtake plan, meaning certainty is being provided to whoever does the construction. Okay. So where is this money? Why is this money important? So that a fund is created, which they're calling a fund that helps to cover that risk, so that whoever constructs is assured that government will offtake. And that offtake. So that's where the money. So this is not even a housing scheme.
Okay.
It's a financial structure that's being called a fund. Guys, we need to be truthful with each other as we call the Bible and cite the Constitution. I'm not satisfied that the people who've spoken here either are good Christians because they cited the Bible and that they understand the Constitution well. They have to stop telling us this nonsense.
Leo, we can't hear you.
Thank you. I hope I'm now loud and clear. Thank you so much, Stella, and welcome on board. Thank you, Boniface, and welcome. So I'm saying, why do I bring this issue? Today, those people who've been living in government residence, that is the ones who live in Mbotela, the ones who live in Jogoo Road, that is Jogoo Road phase 1 and phase 2, the ones who live in Jamaa, the ones who live in Ahero, and Mawenzi Gardens, they've been given up to April 30th to vacate so that the government can be able to put affordable housing there. And a lot of things, the housing levy is also being declared unconstitutional. That is according to the Attorney General's advisory. And remember, the role of the Attorney General is to give a legal advice to the government. That is both the National Assembly and the executive. So who are we supposed to listen to? What I've played to is just an expert. You people, you know Kwame. And I'm glad. Let me give my guests some time so that they can be able to give their opening remarks as we proceed. And I think I'll go by the rule. They say ladies first. So one first, you'll have to be a gentleman a bit so that we can be able to hear from Stella as we proceed. So Stella, karibu sana, and very good evening.
Good evening, Leo. Good evening, Boniface. I have a sore throat. So yesterday, it was a tough election week for us advocates, at least. Yes,
first of all, I have to congratulate the girl side. Finally, we are having a lady who is the president. So congratulations for you people who participated in those elections. It was so tough, but finally, you people managed.
Yeah, at least this. I mean, it was a sign of relief. You remember, Faith is she's one of the councils who are against the former LSK 2022. That was he was against Harvey. So at least we are happy. Yeah. We got Eric. Eric, at least he fought for the rights of advocates and also human rights. Also Faith, we know her. She's a very tough administrator, and she's a person who doesn't shy about the system, and she's not shy even discriminating where there's wrongdoings. Anyway, we've moved on. So let's see in the next 2 years how it's going to be. I know the week has been.
But I heard, okay, I know it is not part of the discussion, but you brought it. You know, Faith was competing against some strong opponents. The second, the second, that is Mr. Wanyama, claimed that he simply lost because you people, the fellow members of the bar, labeled him as a government project. So that is why he lost. He would not have lost.
No. He's the thing is, Leo, it's like how you bring your bid and how you should how do I put it? He never gave the satisfaction how he can able to protect LSK body against being attacked with the government. You see, so he's a person who like he's in a ship. He's wanaitangaje nini inaitwaje something in the
You are actually how do you call
a fox.
You are a hyena, but inside in a sheep's wool. So you pretend to be a sheep, yet you're not a sheep.
Yeah, because you see, even before the time of the election, you see, you have to put your manifesto. Where do you feel that you can defend the body of LSK, not to be intimidated, interfered, So someone like Faith, she's someone who like he fought for LSK the time when Harvey was around. He's the same person who was saying that Harvey is the one who was misquandering monies and bullying councils of the LSK committee, which it was a sign of relief when he left to pursue his political thing for Westlands. At least it was a sign of relief for LSK. So when Eric Dewi came in, he got the pertinent issues what the society was facing, especially let's say like a lot of lawyers, most of them, they don't do court work. Most of them, they do conveyancing. They have issues with some institutions like Ministry of Lands, Kenya Property, Kenya KIPI, that is Kenya Institute of Property. I mean, those things. Then the others who are in IELA, you get. So at least Eric was able to. Eric was someone who knew and understood, and he had a passion of protecting LSK. Faith is a gallant soldier. She's been wounded before, but she still fight on. At least we were relieved that she won. Yeah.
I get
so moving on, then I saw Baba and what's his name? And Zakayo. But hiyo wacha tu nikuambie ukweli. Zakayo was humbled with... No, let me tell you. Let's be honest.
Okay.
Why go to Museveni? Remember, when they went to Museveni is a mediator. It was a mediation. I can tell you on my perspective as a lawyer, this was a mediation. So you see the enemy and the divide, you see? Also remember, even the time when Kibaki, when there was that thing of 2007, remember even Museveni came in between Kibaki and Raila. So he acted as a mediator. So now if you see someone like Ruto, he has humbled himself because of the pressure of Baba. Anyway, that's my opinion. But what I'm saying, at least they've called it truce. They've extended an olive branch. Let's see what happens. We'll see. At least we can understand that things are going to cool off. But still, us on the Wanjiko side, we are like, let it be. So I don't know, is it because Zakayo is losing his people, or Zakayo seems to be like, how do I put it? His house is not in order. Because remember, even when they had this truce with Raila, when they went to see Museveni, some people of the KK security, they will start getting divided. Remember even the way the handshake was. The people who are in pro-Uhuru and those people who are against Uhuru's handshake with who? With Baba. Anyway, that's my opinion. But my thinking and my legal perspective, I'm seeing that Museveni came in as a mediator because he knew that his neighborhood, there's fire burning and it needs to be put off. So this thing of saying that he's trying to kind of support and I need to go for AU, to me that one is not an excuse. To me, I believe that Museveni called that meeting because of mediation's sake. It is just
I get you, Stella.
Yeah,
I get you. I get you. I know you, Stella, have missed this one. I know you've missed this one. And actually, it is one of the things we are going to discuss today, and we are going to get your ideas on that. You've really been missing, and it is a topic that is hot. It is not ending today. We have to talk of it today. So wacha nipatie Boniface nafasi pia aweze kupatia his opening remarks. So Boniface, if you can just unmute. Yes.
I've sent you something. Just check.
I've seen it. I want to address it. Just let us get some opening remarks from Boniface, then we proceed. I've really seen it. It's so interesting.
Yeah, thank you so much, Mr. Lee, for giving me this opportunity to be here today. And I know that we are going to share many things. And again, we know what happened today. We have seen what is circulating, that there are some of the residents in Tantora Phase 1, Mbotela, who are going to be displaced. And again, they are given the notice. So we are having a lot of content so that we can share today with our listeners and all those who are watching AfriqTv, because this is where we bring you every story and every trend that is ongoing in our country, that is Kenya, and also globally. So we are the AfriqTv, and I think by the end of this live stream, we shall share a lot of things. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Bonnie. Thank you so much, Bonnie. And Stella, I know she's getting back. She had some problem. I think it's just connection, and we'll proceed. So, Boniface, today we saw something that happened. There was this groundbreaking of the Talenta Hela City. Wewe ni mwana sporti, najua. Maybe you're a fan of sports. Do you think there's hope that we are now going to some good things are going to happen once in a while? For a while, we are going to have a stadium built there.
Yeah, I saw what was happening today. We had that big unveiling of the sports. That is.
Yes. Boniface?
I think he's lost his connection.
Oh yeah, so Stella, I can hear you. You are just right on time. Let me just play this. I want you to look at not to play, but I want to display this. I hope somebody can be able to see my screen. There's a letter. I'll not maybe read it to the entirety. It's a letter from the Office of the Attorney General and the Department of Justice. That is dated February 21st. So in this letter, it's the Court of Appeal application number E55577 of 2023, the National Assembly and the Speaker of the National Assembly versus Okia Omtata Okoiti and the Kenya Revenue Authority and 57 others. So the most important part is that I want to read is after that, the yellow one. The upshot of this is that there is no legal basis on which the housing levy as provided in Section 84 of the Finance Act can be implemented. Therefore, our considered opinion is that as of the date of delivery of this ruling of the Court of Appeal, i.e., that is on the 26th of January 2024, there is no legal provision that enables the collection and administration of housing levy. Kindly be advised. This is Honorable J.B.N. Muturi, EGH, Attorney General. It was copied obviously to Charles Hinga, that is the CS, the Principal Secretary at the State Department of Housing and Urban Development, and Dr. Chris Kipto, who is the Principal Secretary at the National Treasury. Stella, AG is telling you that there is no legal framework that can enable implementation of this levy. Today, I've told you that there are people who've been given some notice to vacate in 6 months' time. Actually, by April, they should have vacated because they want to build the affordable housing. If you heard Raila in his speech today, he said that the housing is a devolved unit. It's something that has been devolved. So it is the role of the counties to build houses and such kind of things. So the national government should not be competing counties, or should not try to do things that the counties are the ones who are supposed to do. So do you think this thing is going to succeed? Because on the other end, the president is saying it has to be implemented, and the parliament is telling him we've already passed it. The Senate is saying we are going to implement it, to pass it without even adding a comma. What is your take?
Leo, it's so saddening when the
Yeah.
when the parliament, when the national the parliament had, I mean, they were discussing this thing, saying that these things to be, I mean, they have to go back and see where there were the flaws, then they reinstate it again, so to be a bill. But you see, Leo, the problem with these people of AK, that is they are not understanding. You see, Leo, let me tell you, there's a perspective, a poor man's side, and there's a perspective of a rich man's side, and there's a perspective of someone who is greedy. That is your politician. Understanding. You see, now, let me check this here. I think there's background noise from your end.
Okay, I think it's sorted.
So you see, now I've said that they are kind of a triangular. It's a triangular thing. So from the poor man's perspective, remember the law is gray. But you see, when the person, like people like in the side of the Okia Omotata of the Senate side, if you see people like Badi telling them that you people, you're implementing this thing at the wrong time and at the wrong place, and that this time is when the government, it's still on heavy borrowing and spending on wanton-based issues, where we are unable to pay even the call what, the wage bills of ya wafanyikazi. But the thing is, Leo, it's a saddening story, because you see, when we sat down, and I told you, Leo, the time when we went to the courier committee, we told them the example, the one which was used in Ngara and the one which was used in Buxton in Mombasa, where it was a pilot project of Huru, which they were trying to pilot to see how they can able to do affordable housing. Remember, this affordable housing, no one was forced to be deducted, or their salaries to be deducted, or their salaries to be told that you're supposed to remove a certain amount of money, so that you're forced that house to be made, to be built, and yet you're not going to be qualified. Now, for the project pilot of Buxton in Mombasa, if anyone in the forum can understand, that time they were trying to settle how they can able to get those people kwa hiyo soko ya Kongowea. Remember, Kongowea, there was a slum behind it. Now, the place of that Kongowea, they were trying to it was kind of a slum upgrading program. But remember, these guys were being told, you're coming as a rental, but you're not buying the house. Remember, that house is a government property. You do not own it, you just pay rent. So the thing is, when this project, the one for Ngara, it's not Bomangu, the one for Ngara, it was a pilot project. What did they have to do? Build houses. They came out with a proposal, and they say the people who can afford to buy a 1-bed, a 2-bedroom, this is your threshold. Remember, by that time, the developer who were there, it was King Developers. So they sat down with the project of Ministry of that Department of Housing. They said, let's do low-cost housing, and we see how it's going to happen. Unfortunately, the name Leo, mabwanyenye ndio walichukua hizo nyumba wakaanza kurentisha. It's a sad situation. I can give you an example, like the ones for the prisons in Roiro. Those houses are they are kind of, it was staff houses, their prison. Remember when the police walikuwa in a very bad, they were in bad state. Now, those projects in Roiro, the housing ya maaskari, remember kuko na bosses kwa mapolisi huko, they have taken 6 to 10 units, they are renting to their own staff of prisons. Now, yes, the affordable housing, they were saying, yes, it was good. They were saying how we can make sure that the housing, it is not gotten like like Bwanyenye achukue, it should be one PIN, one ID.
Yeah.
But now,
Yeah.
unfortunately, the time wakati hii housing ilikuja wakati wa finance bill, the KK government, they never identify where they are going to build these houses. When the questions were too much, wanasamanga, when the question becomes too hot, you better do what? You better get out. Now, what happened when these people sat down and they said they are going to build affordable housing? Okay, fine, they were told. If it is in Nakuru, where are you going to build in Nakuru? They said, we are going to see which places we are going to build. Unfortunately, these people came and forced the county government to release that land to the government Kujenga. Remember, Leo, each county inatakiwa kuwa na their own land and they are able to control their own properties. They are able to generate revenue so that it can keep a county afloat. Remember, when the national government picks those houses for affordable housing, wauze, hizo nyumba ziishe, remember hizo nyumba zitakuwa kwa county, the county goes at a loss. The problem with the Kenya Kwanza people, they are being told, let the sleeping dog lie. So that we move on to other projects, we stop relying on the affordable housing. If Kenyans have said it haitapita na haitaenda na haiwezekani, itikieni tu mumeshindwa kwa this battleground. It is a battleground which we told someone, it's the way how the Napoleon fight it was happening. If you cannot listen to the people, and yet the people have you do at your own accord, but even you see, even counties are fighting the national government saying that you cannot come to our land, mwanza kutengeneza nyumba, na hizi land enye tunawapatia, we have not transferred it to you. Because this is the land which is the benefit of the county. If the national government is going to take that, how will the county survive without the... Sasa ebule wacha nikupatie example. Unaona masoko zenye zinakuanga huku kwa constituencies za county. Hizo soko zilikuwa zimeambiwa wacha tu upgrade soko. Remember, soko zilikuanga flat. Wakaanza kutengeneza soko za ghorofa. Each soko inaendaka inalipa 2000 inarudi kwa county. Ndio unapata kuko na garbage collection, watu wanalipwa, ndio unafanyiwa cleaning, you know, like that. Now, if the national government ikipokonya county, how is the county going to survive? And how are we going, the resident of that place, how are we going to get the services? It is going to be disabled. Now, his story eviction, and the one which the guys from Mbotela, Kemathi, Kariobangi, whoever, what I would say, what me on my own, okay, I'm not a litigant. The MCAs, I don't understand why they're sitting down and they're saying they should go and apply for injunction. They say that no one should come and interfere. The matter remains as status quo. Mukae hapo mpaka wakati koti itadetermine. But if you see someone like the AG who never listened before, but wakati alikuja because there was so much pressure. Remember, even this AG is also an advocate of the High Court. When he was told this thing is unconstitutional, na kuambia alichambua hiyo kitabu, akachambua Yohana, akachambua yote. Akaona kweli. This
it's unconstitutional.
It's meaningful of this. It's unconstitutional. So this is the way hata alikuwa anaambiwa, you're the person who is misinforming the president. And it's a shaming when you see something is unconstitutional, it passes through your nose and yet you're keeping quiet. Remember, he was being attacked by who? The same people kwa judiciary. Because if you see, the judiciary was also compromised that when Ruto was threatening them, or even any other government official is threatening them, some AG should put such people to order. But now, the thing is, I do not understand what the MPs, the governors are sitting down to do. They need to go to court and they say injunction should be applied so that their constituents are not evicted like dogs, or they are not going to be evicted like you remember the one for Murewateto, the one for during COVID, when people were being thrown out at Kariobangi at night. So what I'm trying to say, to me, Justin Muturi has come and bowed to pressure, and he knows that he made a mistake. At least he has accepted, and he has written that letter. Leo umesoma hiyo nini? I've highlighted to you, and I've told
Yes, I've
you
read it.
what
I've read
he
it.
has said. Now, yes.
I've
Now
seen
the
it. I've
people
seen
who
it.
are being yes, they should go to their respective administrators. They should go to their respective MCAs, their senators, and their governors and their MPs. They do a class action to ask for injunction from court so that this national government should not evict people at midnight. Now, unajuanga in Kenya, people are evicted at midnight. I don't know what happens. Mbona mtu akwangi evicted at
No,
daytime.
people are
Anyway, let me
evicted
rest
at
my case.
midnight because at midnight people are less reactive, and you are not likely to
No.
get as big a crowd
No,
as what you can get in the
human
morning.
rights.
Let me welcome, let me welcome Pen Nyagaka so that we can hear from him, then we
Whatever.
proceed. Yeah. So,
Look,
Bwana Pen, karibu sana. Yes.
I'm saying in human rights, even in the face of whatever, a court order only acts from 6 o'clock a.m. to 6 p.m. in the evening. So after 6 p.m., evicting people, that's illegal. And it's unconstitutional.
I've seen, yes, Pen, karibu sana. You are most welcomed, you know. Stella talks, and she explains it. Sometimes we give her enough time because she understands this issue. So, Pen, what is happening is this. Tumeambiwa na AG kuwa hii mambo ya affordable housing, it's illegal because there's no law that permits the government to take your money to build for you a house. So there's no legal framework.
Okay. Hiyo Ben, habari hapo Nyabaya. Thank you very much
Even
for
if it is
welcoming
taken
me.
to parliament and they pass it again, somebody will...
Sasa wacha niseme ya kwamba the housing has to be there. Number one, the housing has to be there.
Unanisikiza,
because
Pen?
in any, yeah.
Okay.
Go ahead. Hello? Nyabaya, unanisikia?
Pen?
We can hear you.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, that vile hiyo mama amesema ni mzuri sana, lakini kama Muturi anasema there is no law, the parliament should pass the law, should establish the law that where they have the housing has to be there. The housing has to be there, number one, because to develop the country, vile the way Sakayo Ruto anasema ni kwamba ni kama Southeastern Asian countries, they develop the housing first. That's very critical. Ya kwamba there's no law, vile Muturi amesema, yes, we have to establish the law. That's very clear. Lakini kusema ukweli, this is very foggy. Is not a clear set rule ya kwamba we have to do this so that we can do this, all this and that. Lakini kwanza, we have to conclude that the housing has to be there. As to how it is going to be there, the laws have to be established so that we can have a clear housing. Hii kutoa ushuru, to tax the people so that you can build the houses, those have to be the rules too. Hiyo lazima iwe sheria, so that at the end of the day, we cannot continue to be where we are. Ya kwamba, we are foggy. You go to Batare, you go to Kibera, those are flying toilets, those are flying housing. You don't want to continue with that. We have to establish a better housing, but is there to be rules? Yes, we have to have the rules to do that. Lakini, it is very difficult. It's not that easy. vile huyu mama ameeleza sana sana, it's not a very easy things to do, but we have to do it so that we can continue. Vile nilikwambia Nyabaya jana, there are so many things that are wrong with this system, but do we destroy it further? No. Do we do it better? Yes, we should. Hiyo ndio tunasema. Thank you very much, Jabaya. Naendelea na kazi nzuri unafanya.
Thank you, Pen. It's good, it's good you've been to the country and you've interacted and you can now be able to give an opinion that is based on evidence and based on knowledge of what you know. So that sahi mtu aweza yakwambia tumejua Pen, wewe umekaa tu hapa America na una comment vitu za Kenya. So it's good the time you've been around. I think you've walked around hapo Nyamira, hapo Kisii, wamekuambia hii mambo ya economy, hii agriculture, hii fertilizer umekuwa ukiona kwa TV. So I like your sincere opinion.
Unajionea mama anapigwa huko Ushago, mama anapigwa anaenda kwa polisi anasema lazima huyu mama aache na pesa alafu asaidiwe. So ukiwa Ushago ya Nyabaya, you see a lot. Sio kama ule ukitembea huko America unajificha, you talk from a grass, unatuuzuza tu kutoka kwa chupa. Lakini when you see what's going on, inaku affect. Even if personally leo unajua mimi na support this government, but when you see the police taking the money from the local person about transporting his ship from here to there, na polisi anapewa kitu, aoni kitu anafanya, so you see everything. And as I've said in Nyabaya, yes, we support this government, but we have to criticize where it is wrong. We cannot blindly accept the reality ya ushezi ambao wanafanya. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Boni, kwa dakika mbili tu, wamesema wale watu wa Mbotela and its environments, these people who stay in the government houses, they need to vacate. Watafute kwingine, then wanajengewa nyumba. Do you think wakisha toka, the government will give them an opportunity tena kurudi occupy these houses? Wewe maoni yako ni vipi hapo? Wameambiwa mjitayarishe kuhama ndio tukuje tujenge affordable houses, but chances are wenye wanahama hawatavipata hivyo nyumba. So does it mean the government is solving the housing issue or the government is creating a housing problem?
Yeah. That one is contrary to the government because where do you believe hao watu wenye watatoka kwa hizo manyumba wataenda wapi? Hao watu watakuwa wanatafuta place ya kuishi, na ukiangalia pale kuna watu ambao walinvest katika nyumba zao pale wakajenga, ndio umekuwa wakitegemea. Kuna landlord pale, kuna caretaker, a lot of people have been working on those areas. So if the government now is trying to relocate the people from those premises, then that one will be a disadvantage to those people because now they'll be looking for new places. And again, you can see, I don't think whether the government can compensate the amount of money that those people invested in those places. You know that someone else might be inherited a plot there, might be inherited a land there, and he all took the energy to that place. Then the government now is trying to relocate them to different places because they want to establish this housing. So I think this one is a disadvantage to
the government is again. The government is not relocating them. Huh? What is happening? The government is not relocating them. The government is telling them that wajipange.
Yeah. You know now that one is a big problem because unaambia mtu ajipange wapi na vile siku hizi kupata plot ni ngumu sana. So is the government able to compensate the amount of money or the investment those people used to start those premises? So that is the big question because that one is a problem. If the government is not able, then they should leave people to stay there and go establish those housing to people to remote areas whereby let the government go and establish those houses in Marsabit or Isiolo. Because if you tell someone who is in Mbotela, Jogoo Road, phase 1, phase 2, to just move away, then what are you telling him? And the way nowadays the price of plots and the lands are so high. So this one is a big disadvantage that it will always make Kenya Kwanza government to lose posts come 2027, because that one will be affecting citizens of the country, because those are the people who live there and they voted for the government. So if they are being displaced, where are they going? So they will raise complaints. So I think those people, they can get the lawyers and raise their complaints to the court, because we have judiciary, and not unless the judiciary nowadays, we see judiciary nowadays has not been independent. As we know, that is the only arm of the government that should be independent. So they should raise those complaints. Where are they going? Is the government going to compensate the money they used there, the investment they did in those areas?
I get you. Stella, you've told me that, what the government is planning, like majorly these evacuations are normally done at night. And you've talked of human rights, that there are some people have got some human rights. Just the other day, you saw the demonstrations by the PDU, the Kenya Medical and Dentist Practitioners. You saw what happened. These guys were just having some peaceful demonstrations to fight for the rights of our young doctors. Then at the end of the day, what happened? The police had to use force to disperse them, and somebody is nursing injuries right now. So do you think the government cares when it comes to telling people move away? Do they care about the rights that you're saying? Because if you listen to the president, he said that those people who are opposing the affordable housing will think about the money, of which the courts have proved that this money is illegal. You cannot take my money to build me a house. What if I don't value the house? I'm used to sleeping in a tree and such kind of things. Then he said the people who are supporting it are not thinking about the money or the thinking about employment opportunities. So they will rather not think about money, not think about the rights, and not think about the constitution, but they think about the promise that they promised youth, that they are going to give them employment. So that is what the government is concerned about.
Leo, let me ask you one question.
Yes.
Let me go back fast. It was so unfortunate about yesterday how the medics were being attacked. And the people I should fully blame about this for the medic going to the streets is because they were demanding they needed to have more personnel in their hospitals because they are being overwhelmed. Remember, Leo, if people like the governors, they want to be given monies because you see everybody is so now we are almost going to June where the allocation should be done by the CRA. The thing is, a governor says, I need my government, especially in the, health is devolved there. I need like 600 million or maybe 3 billion or what. This is to cater the hospitals and the staff salaries and what. Now, Leo, if you go to hospitals right now, let's say, leave the referral hospitals. Tukuja utu to clinic, to dogo, utu to a county, utu to dogo, leave private hospitals. One doctor has almost 40 patients a day. Is it fair? And this doctor does not have a nurse and does not have an assistant. A lab technician will serve almost 150. It's one technician, one lab technician to 150. A nurse has to go to 200 to 300, whatever. Now, them they were saying they need people, trained doctors like like those interns to be there. Then they should be paid a locum. Leo, even these people are not asking for a lot of money. They are asking for 1,200 a day. So if you're a locum, you work for 3 to 4 days. That's not a lot of money for the pay you. But now the problem is it is greedy for our government, and they are meant to be held accountable. This thing is not about the government or whatever. Governors should be held accountable. It was a sad situation how you saw how Nakuru, our Memorial Hospital, people are fighting because of a lease transfer. Remember the original title was where? It was renewed for another extra 50 years for it. Remember, the last regime was saying, if you know that your lease is going to expire, no one should come and claim that land. You either extend it or you either surrender it back to the government. But don't come and force me because iko karibu kuisha, I am taking it by force. You saw even how people were being removed from oxygen. Wengine mpaka walikuwa wanatolewa kwa dialysis. They were being evicted out with cancer. It was a sad situation. Now, if you see even the governor, Susan Kihika, defied the court orders. Back, it was so annoying. A deputy registrar, who is the second in command from a judge, she was stopped not even to enter through the Memorial Hospital. It is a sad situation. And this thing, and I'm telling you, Leo, the governors should be held accountable. Shule zikikosa chakula, governor. Walimu governor. Because the thing is, kukona quantum waste. So now the thing is, they want to be, you remember when Waiguru and his COG people, they were fighting the treasury because they were not dispersing money. You know what we say? If treasury has that money, come and health, he ended directly to health. It should not be given to the office of the governor. Actually. You get what I'm trying to say? He ended direct.
They need to allocate it directly.
Need to allocate it directly. So what they need, the treasury should be doing, they send people from the ground, or they send their people for the data collection, collect each and every information for each doctor, locum, baka wale wanaoshanga orderly, mtu mwenye anafieka, cooks, nini, Excel sheet. Then create that Excel sheet, how much they are paid, remove their statutory, then they are paid through the bank. Because we cannot understand why doctors cannot be paid, and yet they are trying to, I mean, at times you see, even they strike, they stop operations. Now you see, many patients from Baringo will leave to come to Nakuru. Mwingine wa Nakuru, because doctors are strike, you bring someone in Nairobi. Nairobi, Kenyatta is being overwhelmed. They're being told, no, take it to take these people to this hospital, like Melchizedek, Mpisha. Now these people need money. And yet, Leo, you've been paying your NHIF faithfully, diligently, without fail. But the government...
Without failing, yes.
No, that not make any sense. Anyway, let's get out from that one. So let's go back to the housing. Leon, I want to ask you one. And let's be honest. This story, ati anasema ati, oh, ita create employment and work. What was the target for his administration? How many affordable houses anataka kutengeneza? What was his target? 14,000 units.
Yes, 14,000 units, yeah.
Leo, to assume hizo 14,000 units zimeisha in 2025. Hao mafundi wataenda wapi? This is the problem, what I was saying, Leo.
No, people are not asking those questions. Mafundi wataenda wapi kwa sababu?
No, it is job creation. Sawa. Hii Kenya nilikuwa nasema is the government employing them directly, because those houses zinatengenezwa na developers. Developers anachukua mtu wake.
Anachukua mtu wake. Hata akikuja na Waganda, akuja na nini, ndio developer.
No, sasa si ndio ninakwambia, developer akikuja as the aspect of an employer, anakuchukulia kama wewe ni mtu wa mjengo. If the government wants to say they want to create job, absorb these people in that state department of housing. If it is a masonry, akae hapo. If it is mtu wa plumbing, akae hapo. Electrician, akae hapo. In case stima ikiharibika, ama there is some things which needs to be faulty, someone is called from the county of state department of housing. Kuko na nyumba Bondeni, house number 6, imeharibika stima nini. Because huyo mtu bado atakuwa kwa payroll. Lakini unaniambia 14,000 units, okay, sawa, zimeisha. Kazi iko wapi ya the next 10 to 5 years ama 15 years?
Kuja ufanye repair.
It does not make economic sense. It does not make economic sense. And this is what we are saying. Hata kama unataka kutengeneza affordable housing, stop forcing people to do it. Let them go like the way Uhuru did the one for Baxon and the one for Ngara. It is a willing buyer, willing seller. And if Zakayo is trying to insinuate that it is creating jobs, then for me, I will tell him, look here. If people who are jengai those houses at Bondeni, 2,000 units, absorb our mafundi kwa State Department of Housing, wakwe kwa kanjo ya wapi? Kanjo ya Nakuru. So kama ni plumber, we usiite plumber wako Kamau. sijui umeenda langalanga kumchukua, you call the person of State Department of Housing akuje affix your plumbing, because that guy bado atakaa kwa payroll. But usikuje tuambia hapa at it is creating. You have not demonstrated to us how you're going to give these people jobs. There are people wenye ukiwaona huku nani Leo, it is so certain utaona mtu akona raksa, akona screwdriver, mwingine akona nyundo, akona nini. Wanaenda wakitafuta kazi ya nini kibarua. And yet wakienda mahali kwenye wanaambia kwenye nyumba zinatengenezwa kama starehe, wanaambia hapana, developer amekuja na watu wao. You see, that is the thing which is unfair. Me, I'm coming on the employment issue. Now, the other part where I'm coming disputing is how to get these houses. And this is what I emphasize. Leo, mama mboga hatapata hiyo nyumba. Boda hatapata hiyo nyumba. Mtu wowote hawezi pata hiyo nyumba. The thing is, it is going to be too expensive for them. If you're given a criteria being told that you need to have a threshold of 700,000, and yet my earnings, which I'm going to get end of the month, is around 20,000. I have more important things to do for that 20,000 nimepangia. But don't come and chukua my 1,600 kwa nyumba unaniambia nikatwe, alafu then within 7 years you're telling me I'm not qualified. Oh, you're telling me sasa nyumba zimejaa, tutafanya hii pesa utangoja kidogo tutalipa. Then another thing, you don't give me my statement. If you saw what Kwame asked Hinga, who is going to be the custodian of the person who is going to jenga in those houses? And if it is PPP people, private, whatever, private, public, whatever, you need to give
public
us
partners, yeah.
Yes, give us the name of that entity. Who are the partners? Who are the developers and everybody? Just in case anything hiyo nyumba wakati kutakuwa na trema ianguka, we'll hold accountable. Ama when we pay for this money, and this money, when maybe I fully pay this money, then I'm being allocated a third floor, and yet when unipeleka kwa bed sitter, it does not make any sense, Leo. The thing is, there is no transparency in this thing. And that's why you see someone like Justin Muturi anasema, this thing is unconstitutional. If you see a whole AD, alilala, akapenduka, he went to his office, State Department, and iko pale nyuma ya Parliament, akatoka hapo, akona legal researchers wenye wako Parliament, ametoka hapo, he has friends who are also lawyers, ametoka hapo, he has judges, na amekuja ameandika certain barua. If him can say that this thing is unconstitutional, and the president does not respect it, there is a problem. There is a problem in this government. And I'm telling you, this thing, itaanza kulipukia 2025. That's my take.
I get you very, 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 very well. Okay, people having different opinions on this. I can see Geoffrey Ruto is saying that, listen, the population continues to grow and the demand for housing does not stop. How do you expect these jobs to stop? I think, Geoffrey, that one is answered because the government has not said that they are going to keep on building these houses. Actually, they've told you. The number two, as the population are growing, the people who are also dying and the houses that are being built every day. Actually, the houses in this country are being built every day. If you go to each and every estate, and actually, if you go to Nairobi, if you are in Nairobi the last 5 years, Stella, if you go to Nairobi today, you'll get lost because the places that were having fields have been had buildings erected on them.
Yes.
Oh, that's a fact. Go to Nairobi today, you'll get lost because most of these places that were open places, they have got houses that have been erected in these places.
Leo, right now,
yes,
you come to the money. You cannot believe those greenery houses. People have built apartments, high-rise apartments, 14, 15, 16 floors, 20 floors. And this thing is not being built by government. These are private developers. If the government cannot try and stop such structures in a place which was greenery, I don't understand why they cannot even take these same developers waenda watengeneza nyumba quality kama hizo. Si zenye wanaenda kutengeneza the ones who they look like a joke in Paxton. The problem is, Leo, and I've kept on emphasizing, na hiki tulisema from the day one, housing is not a necessity for a Kenyan person. Mimi necessity yangu ni unga kesho itapanda. Because one aspect as a Kenyan I will say, does it bring food on my table? Bringing food for my table is to make sure that 1,000 shillings, which I have to go and do shopping, it does not fit in a uruba. It does not need to fit in a uruba. That 1,000 shillings should make me that I can able to survive within the week or within that 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Now, 1,000 is hardly even going for 2 days. So if he's insisting that there were because even the time wakati koti ilikuwa imesimamisha hii kitu walikuwa wameulizwa aje. Fine, no problem. Let's look how you're going to raise this money without entering people's payslip. How are you going to get this money to build those houses? Then they say they are going to get developing partners. They get a developer. Let me tell you, Leo, hakuna developer huku Kenya wataki kufanya kazi na gava. Because of what? Government wako na tabia mbaya ya kitu inaitwa pending bills. Hawalipi on time.
Stella, I want you to respond to this. Maybe you can explain it better. The problem that is having, maybe in response to Sniper, is telling me, kwa nini tuko na biggest slum? Having a biggest slum does not mean you don't have houses. Actually, having a bigger slum, it's about economic. The problem that we're having in Kenya is not houses. The problem is that people cannot afford to buy these houses. And even today, even if the government tax people and build those houses, I can tell you for free, the people you see in Kibera, none of them will get these government houses. Write the word none, because number one, majority of people who are in Kibera don't have pay slips. They don't earn somewhere. The people who are having pay slips, whose employer will contribute 1.5%, and they will also contribute 1.5%, are the ones who are going to be registered in the scheme. So if you're not registered in the scheme, you will not get the house. So maybe somebody can tell me, how is that person who is living in Kibra slum, who cannot be able to get who earns less than 500 shillings a day, how will this person be able to own a house? These houses are going to be owned by the same people having pay slips. Maybe Mr. Boniface and Stella, who is employed, and maybe me, who at the end of the month, the government is going to deduct my 1.5 and my employer will pay 1.5. We are the ones who are going to get these houses, yet we don't stay in Kibera. Yet some of us, we have houses back at our rural. So how will this person without house going to be helped? Maybe you can explain that one, Stella. Somebody is saying because we are having a slum in Kibra, so this housing problem is going to ensure that we don't have a Kibra slum. Do you think Kibra slum is going to be nowhere in the next 10 or 20 years?
Okay, there's something called, it's the economic aspect. There's an economic aspect for it. Because for one, why these slums are sprouting is because people can't meet there. How do I put it? There are these people who live $1 below the dollar, whatever. You get what I'm trying to say? The issue with the slum starts with the county. If the last time when I explained about job opportunities, and I said, if the government and the county can support these people called Kenya Association of Manufacturers, Leo, nakwambia industry yote ingekuwa imesha employ watu huko waende kibarua, hata kama they will be going for maybe Monday to Friday. Then even mwenye alikuwa anakaa Kibera kwenye alikuwa analipa nyumba ya 1,500, upgrade aende Congo akae nyumba ya mawe ya 4,500. You get what I'm trying to say? Now that one you can able to reduce the get out from there. But now the problem is, if the people at the Kenyan Association of Manufacturers, factory ya simiti imefungwa, factory ya kutengeneza jam imefungwa. If you remember when the time when you were living in Nairobi those days, if you remember industry area, there were so many companies. Hata kulikuwa na ingine ilikuwa inatengenezanga uzi ya kushona nguo, ilikuwa inaitwa Kenyans. That factory ilifungwa. And I'm telling you, there were so many factories, and I'm telling you, people hardly had to hear Kibera. People used to hear Kariobangi, Jerusalem, Buruburu, because people could afford to stay in those social housing because your father was being even given that housing allowance. You remember, even if you can check your dad's payslip Pitambo in the 70s, he used to be paid for 12 shillings for housing allowance because he could afford to stay decently. But now factories zimefungwa. Leo mtu ameenda amesimama hapo, leo hakuna kazi, arudi Tuesday hana kazi. Then hiyo wiki apate kitu kama 200 ama 300. Una expect mtu ataenda kurentisha nyumba? Ataenda kutengeneza nini? Ataenda achukue mtu ako na nini nyumba ya plastic paper. Aende akae hapo. It is the dignity when you tell someone, it is where you put your head end of the day. Ni kwenye utalala. But the problem is the county don't want to support guys called Kenya Association of Manufacturers, CAM. Because if you go to Mlolongo, there are so many factories. I used to remember there's this company, ya gazeti ilikuwa inaitwa Standard. There was Standard. Then I know the one for Nation. There's another one for Kenya. Right now, because of the digital market, printing ya gazeti haikuangi mingi kwenye ilikuwa kitambo. Remember? Siku hizi unasoma gazeti unalipa wewe unasoma kwa simu yako.
That is true.
But
Bonfas.
Even but unaona hata nani Leo, if you see companies kama watu kama Mastermind, people now are not smoking, people are not now smoking tobacco, they are using vapors ama they are using shisha. The thing is because the government is not trying to support these factory people. I told you the other time when we were sitting here, I told you like 13 EPZ zimefungwa in Machakos. And they were employing over 25,000 people. When you look at nashonanga hizi jeans za Agoa and whatever, they were making shoes, nini, then they were being taken to America, then they are put designer labels and what and what and what. These industrialist people of Nini, they had to go a place like Rwanda and Ethiopia because the tax regime there, it is more favorable for them to work as business. Now, sasa utaniambia slum enye ko pale Soweto imemea kwa sababu ya housing issue. No, it is because there is no employment. And the government, they are being told, if you need us to get employed, tuchukue mutuweke kama inaitangwaje, those people casuals, so that we can afford even to pay that the 600 ama we pay that one 2,300. But the thing is, don't say that Kibera is bringing a housing issue. The issue of Kibera, Soweto, Sinai, Nini, what is because the government is not supporting factories and is not even supporting small business people. Now, it is so suddenly, if you go to town, watu wamefungua kwa streets, there are so many hookers from point A to point B. Even walking, the place where you're walking for 10 minutes, it is almost 2 hours. But you see, mtu kama Sakaja hataki kutengenezea hookers nini soko. Expect mtu ataenda kulala wapi akikosa kutengeneza hiyo pesa. Look at Gekomba. Gekomba, people are making good money. But the thing is, now the government is now exploiting them, telling them, now from today onwards, amtakuwa mkituandikia receipt ya Jazi Traders na nini, mtakuwa mna invoice watu na kitu inaitwa eatings. So that means all your businesses should be attached by the taxman. But the problem is when the taxman akiokota hiyo pesa, inaenda inakuliwa na bonyeni. It won't go where it is supposed to be. Haitatengeneza manyumba, haitalipa wa daktari, haitutatengenezea barabara. The thing is, Zakayo is not telling us how this money he's supposed to get it. Then atajenga hizo nyumba. Aliambiwa tume upheld. Then it came to it is unconstitutional. Now, you see, hutaki kusikia. The thing is, Kenyans are asking, unatuambia utatoa wapi hiyo pesa? None of the developers hapa, they were being done interviews. Most of them, they were invited. Leo, it was so sudden, kuanzia last week but one, Nation ilikuwa na almost 23 pages. Ikiuliza expression of interest for developers wenye unaweza tengeneza 20,000 units. in Machakos, and another 20,000 units in Nakuru. None of it, hakuna mtu alikuwa ameingia. No one registered because people feel that if I work with government, they would pay me. Maybe they will tell you, you know what happens with the developers. Unaambia jenga, then itakali. Aya, ile mawe yenye ulikuwa umeenda kununua pale kwa quarry, the person tells you, if you take more than 10,000 stones, I'll sell for you for 7 shillings. Isn't it you developer ako na right ya kuweka hiyo markup? Simiti yenye anaenda kununua Bamburi ama aende anunue Simba Cement, visiti yake siko na VAT. So by the time anataka kurudi kupeana hiyo nyumba kwa the government, what happens? Unaanza kukua na bureaucracy. Bado tuna discuss. Then you know what? Then people start disappearing. Let me not rant on that because I think I'm talking too much. But this thing for housing, and I say, for those who are supporting, do it at your own accord. But the time you are going to ikikuramba, usikuje kutulilia hapa na leo. Imekuramba, if you want to pay that one to boma yako, just know to pay the everybody don't do it. What I can advise,
that is
if you want to put your money to good use, just go to these developers. They can tell you, we can get you a house this amount nini. But this one for government, which is not guaranteed, remember, utakuja ukikukuramba usianze kusema Stella alikuwa ameniambia mbona sikusikia. Anyway, I've said my own.
Stella, you loud and clear, and maybe just to clarify for those people who don't know, yes, Kibera is a slum, but people don't know that land in Kibera, the land belongs to the government. And those shakis or those structures that you see there are built by people who rent to others. So there's no way you can you are going to build a decent house in a government land. In a government land, they only allow you to put temporary structures that whenever the government will need that land back, it is easy for them to send you. Just the same way you see people building structures on power lines. So that land is owned by the government. And the people who are there, actually, that is a business in itself. If today something happens that there's nothing like Kibera, most NGOs that you see that have made several people rich, and after being rich, they come and you elect them as your MPs, your MCAs, and your governors, they will not exist because they get a lot of money from that slum. It's just like telling us that you are going to declare Kenya a malaria-free. No, there's a possibility that we can't have malaria, but just having malaria is an opportunity that you see organizations like Cambridge, CDC, and such kind of organizations, whereby it is other people's business. So we cannot blame the people who are in Kibera. The people who are in Kibera, they are not in Kibera because there are no houses. How many estates are there and are having vacancy daily? There are so many estates in Nairobi with the decent houses, and the houses are vacant and you can walk in. Actually, Nairobi, you can travel from your rural home with the bag. You walk in, pay rent, and get in the house without even hustling. How many people are having vacant houses? Houses are there. So the problem is, the people who are in Kibera, they are in Kibera because they cannot be able to pay these houses. And the ones that the government is building is more expensive, because these guys, you want them to pay like 3,000. Yes, they'll be paying 4,000 per month. Then after 10 years, they own the house, which is different. But this person is not able to pay 1,000 per month. So how sure are you that this person is going to commit and get money to pay 4,000 per month, hoping that they will own that single room in the next 20 years, and knowing very well that in the next 20 years, they'll not be in the same place? They have their rurals. They will not be in the same place. If I cannot be able to pay 1,000 shillings per month, how will I pay 4,000, even if I'm owning or renting or such kind of thing? So I think these are the things that people need to be told, and they need to understand. Yes, the housing program is a scheme that is going to enable Kenyans who are in the middle class and the ones who are rich to keep on being richer, because I know people will buy those houses and they'll come and rent back to you. Because I have money, I'll buy 2 units, then I'll rent to you. Go to Shauri Moyo and these other government schemes. This one's for Kanjo. The people who are there, they pay like 1,500 to Kanjo. They've rented them to other people who pay them thousands of money, and they've gone ahead to even build some other mabati next to these council houses. So that is what is happening in Nairobi. So what was Hiseme hawakuambiwa? Boniface, karibu sana. You can also give your view on that. Is this affordable housing going to solve the it is solving the problem? The president said this thing is not about solving problem. He knows it is not the housing problem. It is solving. He keeps on talking of employment. So is this one better, or we need to put this energy to collect this tax and to tujenge companies to give people some employment that will last long?
Yeah, thank you so much, Mr. Leo. And I don't think whether this methodology that the government is trying to improvise will solve these issues of these slums. And again, I think this way, it is only by this way that the government introduced to the citizens that we are very worried about it, because this methodology, this thing of housing, will not solve anything, because only those who have money will be affordable to have this house. If you don't have money, then you cannot get the house, because there is a certain amount of money that you'll have to raise so that you can get the house. So this housing is not sufficient, and it is not even accommodating every citizen, because if I don't have money for getting it, how am I going to get it? So I think the government here, it made a big mistake for introducing this law, and this law will definitely lead this government into losing the election come 2027, because everyone knows is complaining, because this one will always favor those who have payslips and can get money to acquire these houses. So I don't think whether these houses can never this housing can make people not to live into their areas. For example, it will not make people not to live into those slums, because those areas are where people stay because they can afford. Someone is staying in Kibera or Soweto. It does not mean that person cannot stay in Runda or Kilelesho. They stay there because the only income they get can only afford them to stay in those places. So I don't think whether instead government should have focused on other things that can make people to get money, that is improvising job opportunities, being creative, making sure that those people who are jobless can get money. If you get a job, then you have money, and if you have money, then you can get this affordable housing. This affordable housing could be brought into use and in position when everyone knows in the country is living a lifestyle that can afford this housing. Because considering Kenya, we are in a third world country, so we need to improve other things so that we can come into conclusion that everyone in the country can afford this housing. And it will take them a lot of years, because you know that we only have one term that runs for 5 years, another one that runs for 5 years. So is the government ready to do all those things? And again, it has a lot of manifesto that it promised to the Kenyans. Will the government achieve all those manifestos that it promised to Kenyans? So I think this housing is one of the areas that made this government to fail terribly. Thank you.
You've heard the debate that is going on. I know since this issue of AU, you've not managed to be here. And people have been arguing that when you saw Museveni earlier on there, you told us that it's like Museveni was there to become as a middleman, or he was the one who was now going to bring these two gentlemen together. But some people also saying that because of this AU thing and Museveni being the oldest in Africa, not the oldest, but the longest serving, he's so experienced and he's having friends that you need his blessings before you contest for any seat there. So it could be that when Raila was going there, he was going to seek Museveni's approval. Do you see it in that angle, Stella, or you still maintain that Museveni was just a negotiator helping William Ruto negotiate with Raila?
I said in the beginning, Museveni acted not as a negotiator, as a mediator. Mediator, you bring together so that you're able, so that
you bring together.
Remember, Leo, even the time when there was this issue of the tension between the KK security and the Azimio because of the Maandamano issue, none of Raila's people and none of KK's, they were hardly face to face. It is either they are throwing blows in parliament or they are either throwing tantrums in parliament. But now, even that time when this thing for Maandamano, Raila has never faced with Ruto to discuss what seems to be the problem, because he was told, put your problems on the table. Remember, there was that Kemani Ishungwa and Kalonzo Musyoka, the one they had gone to Naivasha to discuss. Remind me again, ni walikuwa wanaenda ku discuss. Leo, we can't hear you. Leo, I think you've frozen.
Can you
hear me?
Can you hear? I'm saying they were among the things that they were discussing. I can hear you. Among the things that they were discussing was some things that puts them together as members of Eastern Africa and how they can support Raila.
No. I'm saying the time when the country was going through the turmoil of the Maandamano, you remember?
Yeah, they met. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah.
Raila and Ruto could not see eye to eye. Do you remember that?
Yes.
Then they
Yes, I remember that.
They picked each of their party to go and talk something called a bipartisan talk. Remember that? The bipartisan talk, what the main agenda was there, it was the cost of living, and the other main of agenda, it was about the issue of the Cherera Committee, the IBC. But remember, when Kalonzo and Kemani Chungwa, they went and overturned the table. They started talking about the office of who to be there. The common wananchi issues were not being brought up. They went there for their own selfish issue. This thing fell down. Now, after that, Raila and Ruto never met eye to eye because there was still tension. And how do you know tension? It is how the house behaves, how the parliament behaves. Now, when Raila was appointed to go and run, he was he part of the people to go and head the AU? There was Raila, Jakaya Kikwete, and who else? There were 4. I can't remember. Now, remember, whoever said, I'll back up Raila, Ruto.
Yes.
Who said that he's going to back up who? Jakaya Kikwete, isn't it?
Yes.
Now, when this was going on, that means the guard of Ruto went down because he was saying, I need to get my own statesman to go to head a such big place. Remember, Ruto came, was humbled. I'm just saying, Ruto was humbled.
I get you. Yeah.
You get. Now, what the determining factor here is because someone needed to go and put these people together. Someone from outside the sphere who was passed on mwenye hachukui the divide of Ruto ama nini, wakaambiwa mzee anawaita muende wapi? Muende kwake nyumbani. Now, they met Museveni. Remember, Museveni was a mediator even the time of the 2007, where Museveni had to sit down with Kibaki and Raila. Now, at that time, ndio kulikuwa na turmoil ya post-election violence. So that means when they sat down and they were talking together, that means Museveni told Nani, Ruto, you need to put your guard down. You listen what this guy is saying. Naye Nani alikuwa ameambiwa aje, what I'm trying to look as a mediator time, that you have to respect that he's running the country. You'll wait for your time. So what you're going to negotiate, it is what is ailing you. Do you want to run the country or do you want the chairmanship of the AU? Obviously, everybody becomes selfish on one another. Sindio? So atamwambia, you support your statement. He will support the statement. But now the thing is, let's assume aende kukua kwa AU. You heard about the story about Ida was saying that Badi to be the one who will be holding the baton for the time being wakati babako huko AU. Let's assume. But kitu yenye nasema hivi Leo, Museveni came in as a mediator.
Yes.
And that's why I'm telling you, the pressure of Raila has humbled the fire in a way, baka he's calmed down. Do you see these days akiropokwa? Siku hizi ameona she's trusted people mwenye alikuwa na trust. He does not talk to them today because amenyamaza kwa sababu aliona these are the people who misled me to make the country is looking hostile against my decision or what I am implementing. The country is becoming hostile because as we sit down right now, if we reflect when this person alianzaga na Finance Act ikaleta shida akaletanga housing bill ikaleta shida, chief ikaleta shida, I don't know something what ikaleta shida. Kila kitu huyu mtu akiimplement yote inaenda kirai, hakuna enye ishawahi shinda, hakuna hakuna. Niambie ni gani, niambie what has Ruto implemented imepita. Just tell me.
They're having issues. They're either challenged legally. They are not popular actually.
Yes. Why does it mean? Does it when Ruto is maybe the KK government, when they are implementing things, everything has to go to court, goes to court. Because they are ignoring their public participation issues. They don't even take the humanity part, because remember, a government is run by human beings. A government is guided by the constitution. So if someone, let me give you an example.
I get you.
Like the one for NHIF moving to shift. Hii kitu imekaa 3 weeks ikifanywa public participation. 99.9.908 ibaki to 0.1 to 100. Everybody is against it. Because they were saying, wacha NHIF ibaki venye ilikuwa. The only thing what you're going to do, it is just to fire the entire management, bring people who are familiar with the medical field so that they can understand kukikosa madawa hospitali ama kukikosa medical hospitali, they can understand. Leo, it's like you in your field. You cannot go get someone mwenye amefanya food and beverage to come and do journalism unless you have a passion. Leo, we can't see. Leo.
Yeah, continue.
Oh, Kemanzi, what I was saying, this is the regime of the KK. The issue is everything which they implement, it always goes against the people of Kenya, because everything has to go to court to be battled. Kila kitu, hakunaga kitu yenye imepita. So back, Leo, what I was saying is that now, 3 weeks ago, there was this thing for public participation.
Yes.
Yeah, chief, the social hospital insurance fund. Now they are defuncting NHIF. I am telling you, Leo, 99.99.019, kila mtu alikataa hii kitu. Walisema, we go back to the drawing board, NHIF, let it remain the way it was. Because, Leo, NHIF, there are some limits where you can access hospitals. Then, services. But now this one for chief, it is only giving you a limited thing. Because it is a confused structure. Sijui mara household. Now the other day they talked about polygamy. Now the other day
that was an interesting issue, yeah. It seems there are so many things that needs to be explained and maybe to be put into place. Because somebody was asking, the law allows polygamy. You're married to 2 or 3 wives. So, but the cover only allows you up to 4 children. And this is like, this cover is also trying to limit the number of children that you can have. Because remember, we are Africans, and there's some communities among the Africans that they give birth to as much as they can, and also some religion that they don't believe in things like family planning and such kind of things.
Yes.
Yeah.
So see, now the thing is being taken to court again. So it was suspended till July of 2024. Imagine another 4 months. This government is just wasting our taxpayers' money. You get, I'm telling you, yote wakileta inapita kirai, housing fund, kirai, tututu ya kulipa school fees na e-citizen, kirai. Everything imepita tu ni kirai. Because the problem is with this team. KK team are misleading Ruto. And Ruto has sat down. I think hata akikuja amekuja mpole. Hajakuja nini. Now right now anajaribu kuangalia. Wacha nijiite kama mkutano peke yangu. Na nisiite mtu nisiite mtu. Hata venye alienda kwa Benihin akajiita kama mkutano. Akajiuliza, why is everything which is being implemented has to go, and it is always against the people of his country people. Because anakuja anajiambia, unajua alikuja na ile kifua. Unajua ile unaambiaga ukikujaga kwa mtu, kwa mgeni, unatoanga viatu before uingia kwa nyumba, si ndio? Aliingia na gambut. So he never surveyed the problem ya Mkenya. Because for one, the time when he met the issue of kuingilia payslips za watu na kuongeza vitu every day, leo ulikuwa unafungua gazeti tax here, unafungua hapa tax there,
yes.
Kwanza kusikia mafuta imepanda, huyo ni EPRA, stima zimepanda, token imepanda, kila kitu, there's nothing which is going on a declining mood. Then ile kitu alishika mpaka watu mpaka wakakasirika. It's because when this Kindiki guy said, when you have to acquire an ID, you must show 2,000 shillings. Remember, ID and your passport, it is your constitutional right. In fact, even ID na PIN, it should be a constitution. You do not pay anything. The only thing you should pay, it is administrative fees, which is 100 shillings. The issue is, right now, squeezy ID itawi ID, inaitawa maisha card. Ukiona ID, I'll scan for you one day an ID. It doesn't look like the usual ID. You remember the Huduma ID? Wewe ulikuwa umepiga line ya Huduma.
Maisha card.
Huduma line. You've seen the maisha card.
Huduma number up to date sijapata. Ama Boniface ulipata huduma namba yako?
Mimi sijawahi pata huduma namba.
Nilipata, niko yangu.
Ulipata huduma.
How?
Basi kuna wale walikuwa na bahati. Mimi nilipigwa picha up to date, I've never found it.
Me, I've never found even my huduma card, because for what I was asked for my birth certificate, my child's birth certificate, I was asked for my PIN number, my SSS number, to do everything. Now I go and apply for my whatever. I'm being told, no, we need your ID, not huduma number. I'm like, no, you people, you say that huduma should be one and one thing that will be
one number is having everything. Yes.
Having a driving license. But now the thing is, kumbe ilikuwa pesa ya kina Joe Moshero kukula na Uhuru, wakaenda nayo South Africa kwenda kununua Elon Musk. Ndio wanunue Twitter. They have shares in Twitter. That one we will talk baadaye. It's about Bitcoin. Bitcoin. Sasa now the market right now for billionaires, and it's this carbon credit. I'll come and explain how this thing works. This thing, I'm telling you, you're not careful, utarambwa. Anyway, that's how I was related. Back to my story. the issue of this story of Nani, Raila and Ruto, and I told someone, nakwambia Raila akidemand kitu itafanywa. If Uhuru bowed for his pressure, no, it started with Kibaki. He bowed his pressure down. But the late Kofi Annan, may God rest his soul in peace. They mediated. Na huyo akasema mkate nusu akaingia. Uhuru ndio huyo handshake. Sasa ndio hii Ruto. I told you, this man, nothing can let it go. And I know, maybe somewhere alimwambia, the only way how we can go to this issue, maybe we need to get a mediator. So who is the suitable mediator? Not Suluhu, not Kagame, and not the guy in Salva Kiir. Salva Kiir is in Sudan. So the only person
that is Southern Sudan,
the only person was who? Was Museveni. Yes, he's a dictator, but he's a very wise man. In the African setting, we say, you see, you can climb the highest tree, but you can never have a knowledge of a person who is sitting down. So someone like Museveni alikuwa anaona, my neighbors, whatever, it is burning. So it is the high time I call the neighborhood what seems to be happening. You remember even the time wakati tulikuwa na maandamano, Suluhu was laughing na akianza kusema wajirani kwangu kumewaka moto, wana sasa hata investors wamekuja huku kwetu wanataka kuseto kwa sababu huko jirani watu hawezi fanya makazi. Because she knew akikuja kumwambia someone ataambia tu Ruto wacha kusikia ni mama. But if you see someone like Museveni, even he had do you know Museveni alitupeleka kotini, mnajua hivyo? When the East African court
we are taking to court, that is true.
Nani Ruto kaanza kukwambia hii story wacha tu iende tu chini ya maji, wacha tu ikunywe tu maji akilitatilia mafuta. But ile kitu inasumbua nani, inatusumbua sasa, it's like are we going to see the divide of KK? That is what I'm saying.
Actually that is where we need to go to, and the people have been asking themselves ever since these people, those photos that shook the country and changed the political tides, that people have been asking. We know the history of this country. It's always that mtu akiingia huku lazima kuwe na maporomoko. Immediately Raila joined hands with Uhuru Kenyatta, we saw the division. William Ruto led a group that were not satisfied and they formed their own group. So it's always happening. People normally have to shift to base. So that's the question. Wacha tusikie maoni ya Boniface based on that. Are we going to see a united Kenya kwanza? Because right now, Rigiji, the truthful man, hajaongea atuambie ni nini lifanyikia mtego ama alisahau kuweka mtego Uganda. No, Rigiji alikuwa ameweka mtego kila mahali.
Naomba nasitaki kucheka.
Boniface, what happened? Hii mtego ya Rigiji ilifanya kazi na Rigiji hajaongea. Are we going to see them?
Mr. Leo, Rigiji aliongea by the way, kama hujaona.
Amesema nini?
Aliongea akasema, alikuwa amesema wewe mzee usiingilie serikali yetu. Uliingilia serikali ya Uhuru Kenyatta. Sasa hii yangu bado usiingilie. Aliongea, nitakuwa nakutafutia hiyo clip yake pale akiongea, alikuwa anasema usiingilie serikali yetu. Lakini ukiangalia kama wale viongozi wamekuja pamoja, ni Raila Odinga na William Ruto, ni ishara kwamba wako na ile umoja, na wakiwa na ile umoja Kenya itaenda mbele. Lakini kuingia pale kwa kiongozi wa Azimio Raila Odinga itafanya ile opposition iende chini, maana ukiangalia opposition ndio inafanya serikali iweze kutimiza zile ahadi iliahidi wale wananchi. So kuingia pale kwa Raila Odinga atakuwa bado anaweza kuongopa, atakuwa anaongopa kuuliza serikali mbona haitimize ahadi zenye iliahidi mwananchi. So kuingia pale, I think Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua bado I think he is still cooking what he is going to respond after the relationship that has encroached between Raila Odinga and the President William Ruto. But again, I saw him speaking yesterday. He said that Maybe Mzee, you want to intrude our government, but I am not ready for that. But again, if that happens, then this government will always have to fail, because as Stella has said, everything this government says or promises always goes into vain. Anything else has passed since the 8th August 2022. Anything just goes into astray. So when shall we trust this government? That is my whole time question.
By the way, Leo, I'm really checking 3 people kwa KK security. I mean KK, wanaita KK, whatever, KK government.
Yes. Who are these 3 people?
There is 3 people.
Mm-hmm.
I'm checking someone called Kimani Ichung'wah.
Okay.
Number 2, naangalia Didi Nyoro. Number
Okay.
3, I'm looking for someone called not Alan Chesang.
Go ahead. Mwingine?
Huyu anaitwa aje? Huyu wa transport anaitwa Kipchumba Murkomen. Those people, I believe they are the ones who are going to promotion the KK. I don't know. I have a gut feeling because they never liked this person. Ata wakati.
Cheriot or who?
No. Murkomen.
Transport CS.
Murkomen. Yes. My gut feeling I have like this.
Mm-hmm.
Let's assume Ruto calls it truce and extend an olive branch to Raila, hata kama atapata hiyo kitu ya AU. But I'm telling you, these young people at the KK, we call them the young tax, How ndio watakuja kuleta political divide in the KK regime, because them they will be like, hey, hapana, sasa huyu ametuzidi, so that kuanze kukua na issue na tension. Remember the time of Uhuru gave out handshake, and it was done without akina Orengo, Saidia Raila, nini. I mean, they didn't carry their people. You get what I'm trying to say? Walikuwa kivyao. But unaona hii, mi naona this young tax, they will be like, no, we cannot let this guy again akuje atu mislead. And I believe there will be a political tension. Whatever comes may, but I pray to God that if Ruto had to create an enemy, he'd rather not create an enemy with Rigathi Gachagua, but these young people. Because everybody is adamant to get this seat, or everybody is adamant not to make Raila not to have peace. And that is what we are trying to see, what this thing venye inataka kwenda sasa. Lakini let's wait and see. Let's wait and observe. But me, I believe ikifika 2020 whatever, people will start having their own parties. And like is it in April next month, kutakuwa na grassroots elections za ma MCA. But I'm seeing a lot of MCA.
The UDA called for elections in December waka postponed.
Yes, inakuja April. In April. Leo wamejaribu kupanda kwa bodaboda, punda nini. Everybody ataki kusikia UDA karibu. Come with another party. Mukokoteni kwa punda nini chama. It is okay. But make sure that you try and give the mwananchi. I mean, you have to, yani inaitagwaje, lazima uteseke venye mwananchi aliteseka. But right now UDA wanaenda grassroots. I don't see that it is going to be like the way it was before ile wakati wa kieleweke na tangatanga, because there was a lot of heat of competition. You remember hiyo wakati wa Jubilee and the ilikuwa inaitagwaje hii akina nani UDA wakifanya grassroots. But hii ya UDA inakuja April. I'm seeing Kenyans are not getting enthusiastic na hii kitu. Wanasema wacha tu tuone nani atakuwa competitor wa huyo hivyo. You get? Because people have lost faith. Leo, if I tell you people have lost faith, watu hawana imani na hii serikali. Can you hear me?
Yeah. I can hear you. I think Mr. Leo has
Leo, you're
muted his
muted.
mic.
I'm
Mr.
hearing
Leo.
you. I'm hearing you. I'm having some. Yes, I can hear you. Can you people hear me?
Oh, I
Really?
was saying the grassroots, the grassroots which is going to be on April. I'm not seeing a lot of people giving so much thought, because I think the candidature is a bit low. Because even guys, they are not competing a lot, because you see watu lazima waangalie kama chakula itakuwa imefika jioni, ama what does it bring to the table, you get. Now
Okay,
people
yeah.
right now, they're talking about the coins in their pocket, not who is going to be running what, because even at the young people, they are trying to be mentored with these old people, but I'm not seeing a lot of people going for this the UDA grassroots elections. But even another thing, Leo,
People are not interested.
I
Like I attract so interest here, so many people the way it used to be when people are having grassroots. Right now, unaona watu wana campaign and such kind. It just went silent. Could it be there's something that we don't know? Because nobody. When we had this Secretary General Cleophas Malala, wakati alianza alikuwa na mioto kila siku ma press conference. Nowadays we don't see him.
Because for one, Leo, you see the registrar of political parties.
Yeah.
The problem is each party should have a threshold. Then another thing, they cannot do it without the absence of IBC. Remember, IBC, it's not appointed, so that's another hurdle again.
Yeah.
Maybe waende wanunue ndo zile colorless, wapake nini juu, alafu watu waone transparency. Waanza kuweka transparency.
Wanunue zile ndo za unga.
Ndo za unga, kumbe unajua. Sasa kwanza kwenda boxes that kutoka abroad, na hapa containers wanaweza kututengenezea.
Yeah.
So a lot of youth, they are not enthusiastic about having these things because they are being mentored. Hata kuna kuanga na nini member education hapa Ngong Road, hakuna mtu huenda.
Yes.
Hawashughuliki. Watu wanataka kujua unga inatoka wapi.
Na kupata watu wako na shughuli za unga na shughuli za uchumi that ukiwaambia kunaenda kuwa na nomination sijui nini, people don't take it serious. I think that is what now, Stella, if I may ask you, what do you think is going to be happen now that let's assume that this kind of ceasefire that we saw between Raila and Ruto, it materialized, and these guys agreed that okay, there have been speculation that they are working together, and there are some rumors that there are members who are associated with Raila who are going to be offered some state job or state positions. So if this one happens, what do you think is the state or the space of Gachagua? Because as things stand now, you see the way president is going to Nyanza and Western, so people start thinking that he might change his name and pick another deputy president. Unlike Uhuru and Ruto's agreement, the agreement was kumi yangu kumi yako, and they kept on saying it until Uhuru changed, and that is what made Ruto to easily convince the people of the mountain that si munaona, si Uhuru alisema
Leo, you're getting lost.
Yake kumi yangu. Sasa akamwambia kama Uhuru amekataa kulipa deni, nyinyi si mtalipa deni, na watu walilipa deni. So what will Gachagua tell people? Because in theirs hatujui, hakuna hiyo mambo ya kumi yangu kumi yako. Does it mean yake ilikuwa tu ya kuwa satisfied na kuwa deputy president and that is the end of it?
For Gachagua, I think I'm not putting so much hope in Gachagua. Where I'm seeing about a big threat from the perspective of this the unity with Ruto and Nani and Raila, there will be an issue with these young people like Akina Kemani Shungwa, Didi Nyoro, and the likes of Akina Kagombe. You know, there are those adamant, loud people at the UDA. These are the people who are going to cause the divide of the UDA.
Yeah.
But for the Gachagua thing, let me tell you, for Gachagua, I'm not scared because I know maybe there's a shareholding between him and Ruto. So atamwambia nilikupea zangu 10, sasa utanipatia 3 kubaki na 5. Unaelewa? But for these young tax, it's like the way it happened in the time of Uhuru. Nini, team Tangatanga, team Kieleweke. It will be like that. And it never started with his deputy. Maybe, yes, it started with Ruto. But this team Tangatanga and what, that's when Ruto was kind of being told, where could they say to? Because we are seeing this person early to betray. You see, the thing is, Leo, there's one thing I tell people, they are not permanent enemies.
They are not permanent enemies when it comes to politics. That's true.
Yes. Here
it's
is
just shared interest.
Shared interest and selfishness. Who is going to get the bigger cake?
Okay.
The cake is too small, but who is going to get the share and who is going to get the crumbles? But they are forgetting they should bake a bigger cake so that everybody is getting
everybody can be able to get. That is true.
An equal piece. But now where I'm telling you, you should check the guys who I've mentioned. And I'm telling you, what uangalie is it? Because I took 2024. Give it 2025, 2026. UDA will not be the same. Because I told you that Raila will do anything or everything he can to frustrate the person who is leading in the government, to bow down to his. Kama alifanya hivyo na Kibaki na Uhuru na sasa amekujia Ruto, ni nani mwingine hatapatia pressure? So even the time when Kibaki sat down na wakafanya mkate nusu, he created so many enemies in his government. He created so many enemies in government. But the good thing, what I understand with Kibaki, even the time wakati alikuwa, he decided to say, yes, I've appointed this person, then he gave it out with a good heart and he passed on the baton with no, he never had any grudges or what. Nile, I wish you luck.
He wasn't that bitter.
Then remember, the time wakati Uhuru na Ruto venye walikuwa wameenda The Hague. You remember? There was so much bitterness in the Kibaki government. That is the time wakati TNA was created. You remember? TNA, the party called TNA. That is when
I know. The National Alliance with the Johnson Sakaja becoming the first chairman.
Yes. That is the time when Kibaki's his honest people decided to cross over the Uhuru, the TNA people saying that Uhuru was betrayed by Kibaki and Ruto was betrayed by Ruto because by Raila. Because remember, by that time when Ruto went to The Hague, he was a stronghold person of Orange Democratic Party. Ikaonekana yeye na wengineo the Ocampo 7. Walikuwa naita Ocampo 7 ama Ocampo what? Ocampo 6. The Ocampo 6. Remember, Ruto, he had witnesses. The witnesses died mysteriously when Ocampo came because he wanted to see where the post-election violence happened. Then witnesses started disappearing. The people who went to The Hague, it meant that they were being coached. I mean, there was so many things running around that place. You get. Then you remember 3 people are acquitted. That was the guy who used to be a former police. Then there was Mudaura. Then there was that journalist.
Yeah.
And who else? Who else was also
No, it was Henry Kosgei. There was from the ODM part. There was Henry Kosgei, Ruto, and Sang. Then on the other side, we had Uhuru Mudaura and Hussein Ali, the Major General.
Yes. So remember when they came back from the Hague, you remember how they were being received with the hero's welcome. That is when they sat down, they created one accord. But over the time when they were continuing, the tensions started happening in 2016. Before the 2015, 2016, the tensions started growing when Uhuru started seeing that this person is not that is when he got his hustler's name. Then that is the time when Uhuru started seeing that this person kweli si venye nilikuwa namtarajia. Unakumbuka? Sasa ikifika 2017 ndio issue. You remember? That is the time wakati Uhuru like, you know what? This shit is too much. I cannot hold this shit anymore. What I'll do, let me call this person. Twende na yeye Harambee House, tukunywe chai tu sisi wawili peke yake. Hakuna bodyguard, hakuna ngweng. Waingie, alafu tuambiwe, I believe he called one of his cousins. Anaitwa Jomo. Akamwambia, enda utafute KTN, enda utafute nani, uambiwa kuja Harambee House. What did they do? Handshake. Akina Orengo and the guys, the strongholds, were shocked wakati wakikuwa kwa TV wanashindwa. Sisi hatukuambiwa, tulijipata tu tumeona tu kwa TV. Same thing happens with the time when Uhuru, even the guys like, haya, kwani hao walienda handshake na sisi hatukuambiwa? It's because they took a gentleman's decision. Let's not have a prey group behind us. Let's go in the staff room, we discuss. Brother, nini inakusumbua, ni nini unataka? Hapana, wewe unajua umenyamaza sana na unajua tumegrow sana wewe. Unajua hata tulikuwa tunacheza na compound wewe mko State House. Ni aje? Let's call it truth, move on. You get? That's how the country became now on the safe ground. We continued. But what happens wakati ilifika wakati 2020, when did we get our COVID? 2019, 2020, 2021, then there was a big issue of the BBI. Now, the BBI, the BBI, Ruto was behind it, supporting it and saying that this BBI is only for the selfish interest. And who was part of it? When walikuwa nataka kuangusha BBI, Irungo, Kangata, and the rest. They sat down and they said, hii BBI, tulikuwa tunataka ifanywe hivi. Tulikuwa tunataka kuongea juu ya borders nani. Everybody akakuja na ideas. Wakasema hapana. Sisi sijui tunataka office of what? Opposition party office of what? Hizo story mingi. Remember how this BBI, it took even the nation on sections like ile watu wanaambiwa hapana. Lazima hii BBI. Mimi nakumbuka kulikuwa na mtu alikuwa anakuja na three choir. Ila nyumba koko. Una support BBI? Hapana, andika jina yako hapa, namba yako ya simu na ID. That is when I to come and remove that record. You remember the time when they were in court. Then it became now the myriad of the story when all TV stations, hakuna kitu ingine ilifanywa. Everybody was listening to the BBI and it was before a 5-man bench. People gave out their findings and why BBI is illegal and what and what. It was thrown off the bus. Then what happened? People interested saying, Ruto, yeye ndio alikuwa ametuma BBI ianguke. Kila mtu akapeleka hopes zao wapi? Kwa Ruto. Finally got defeated. Now people said, now this is the person who we call the martyr. Huyu ndio sasa alitupigania na ametoka kwa battle. Sasa wacha tusimame nyuma yake. Then what happened to Karuko? Ikaturamba. So now, even right now, I'm telling you, we did not know. I can be honest, even me, niliamuka nikasema sitaenda mapema, nitaenda tu saa 9. Nikaenda nikavote, nikaambiwa eka suti. Mimi nikaeka suti. You know what we meant about suti? Tukaeka suti tukaingia.
Ukapiga suti.
Tukapiga mayowe.
Yeah.
Then what happened? We don't mpaka we were like story imechange namna gani? So ndio ikafika mpaka even Kenyans wameanza kusema Ruto siku hizi anaongea stories za jaba. You know jaba? It's a thief. You know, once you chew it, you know there's that bitterness. So by the time it gets you and it stimulates you and you get high, you start speaking stories and stories and stories and so ndio tulikuwa tunasemaga alikuwa ameleta stories za usemaga stories za jaba.
Za jaba.
Yeah. So let Nani to talk.
I get it. Tell her. Let me give Bonfaz maybe to give us his closing remarks. I know it's a weekend already. It's past 1 a.m. We're already on Saturday. So Bonfaz, you can just give your closing remark as we wind it up. Ramesh is saying frustrated citizens. I think Ramesh, it's wrong. Citizens are not frustrated, but you know, the problem is that Kenyans don't learn. If you look at what is taking place, Stella, these are things that have been happening. These kind of handshakes did not start today. And it is obvious. Somebody would tell you that, okay, after these elections, okay, Raila may be, okay, atujakata, but at the end of the day, Raila will still be part of this government. And of course, true to the words, Raila is part of this government. It is now evident. And very soon you will see we are going to have a kind of confused government when Ruto will feel that those people who are following Raila, the people who are giving him problem, you see the Sifunas, when they speak, what they say makes some sense and people start relating to them and people start identifying with them. Then people will realize, oh, because you know the MPs, majority of the MPs we have in Kenya Kwanza, even in parliament, they rarely speak on serious debates.
Yes.
So what will Ruto do? He will say, Raila bwana, ambia watu wako watulie.
Yes. Sasa now ile kitu ingine leo hata nilikuwa nasema, let's assume baba amechukua kiti. What will happen to the person who is being published by meaning? Maybe, God forbid, maybe he gets sick or he gets tired and he wants to retire. Now, let me tell you, there will be a big fight in the party. Because watasema ati hapana, wetu uliambiwa ushikilie. But now the problem, who is the suitable party person who can hold ODM? Okay, fine. I know all along I've been saying, Buddy has been a diehard. But now the thing is what we want to do. These young people like Akina Sifuna, Babu Owino, Ladama Olekina, this other guy of Machakos, I've forgotten his name. He's called who? Not man.
We had the governor who was a senator. No, there's a time we had the senator, the how do you call it? The Kilonzo, or who are you talking of? Or Wambua?
Wambua, those people.
Yeah.
See, now the issue is it's because now Akina Opio Wandai they don't respect the young people like Akina Sifuna and the Babu Owinos. You get?
Yeah.
They think that they are too rigid because they will take the party like like how a child will fight for his own toy, not to let it go.
Yes. Yes.
But the thing is what we are saying. If Baba comes, maybe apate hiyo kiti ya AU. Because I think inakwanga 4 years ama 5 years.
It's 4 years. It's a 4 years term.
4 years. Yeah. Let's say he continues. Then by the time he wants to retire, he'll be tired. He will be like, he won't have the energy. We don't want to get the next Tanibu. You know Tanibu?
yeah, I get it. I know.
You say, we don't want to get the next Tanibu. You know what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
Me have not mentioned names. I've just said we don't want to have the next Tanibu.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying. Baba should, before even, let's assume that he gets that seat. He needs to groom someone. And I said, it will not be bad at he groom daughter yake. She's called Winnie. Who is the last born?
Yeah. The last one is Winnie.
Yes.
Yeah, that is Winnie.
That girl is always behind the dad. Hata nakumbuka kiwekeo tear gas kwa gari na alitoka strong nini to groom the girl. But the problem is there is misogyny in that party. And people like Opio Wandai and the like should be out of that party. So that, party is not about skirt, ama longi, ama jeans. It is your ideology. Yeah. Are you there for the people's interest? Are you there for, there's an issue, how do you tackle it? What are the interests? What are the economic? What are the basic thing where common wananchi can get easily? I mean, service delivery with your government. It's not like the way Kindiki's government. You apply for passport, you wait for 3 to 4 months, to 6 months, to 7 months. Wengine hata wamekaa nia. And this thing ya passport wakati ulikuwa nasema aje. Wakati alikuwa ameenda huko, was it a side show or was it PR? Imagine Leo, you have someone who wants to go to India. Remember, a sick person haezi enda India peke yake.
Haezi enda peke yake. Lazima akuwe accompanied, yeah?
Yes, he has to be accompanied. And when you're being accompanied, you cannot go. You have to be at least 3. Because because in India, what they say, when you take a sick person, in case this person, maybe he's incapacitated, there should be witnesses who be there to see the medical, there's something we call a medical power of attorney. Where maybe this person can be so overwhelmed with treatment, he's able to say that if I die, whether niende nizikwe ama nichomwe, if I die, my children to take this nini. You get what I'm trying to say? You cannot go the two of you. Let's assume mgonjwa amepata passport. What happened? What happened
to the person accompanying mgonjwa? It's so critical, really.
Huyu mwingine hata na saizo huyu sasa ako mgonjwa. Remember, you cannot visit an embassy without your passport. You must have your passport.
That is true. You must have your passport.
So when the doctor tries and fast track, the doctor will only fast track the passport, because there is that, because inatoka within, I think, 72 hours or 24 hours. But the person who mwenye anamuescort, you'll have to find your own means kupata your passport. There's this thing, your passport, ilikuwa tunapatanga long time ago. I mean, not long time ago. This one for huduma. You apply your passport, within 1 month, you have your passport. Right now, I don't know what is happening to Kindiki's docket. This passport has itoki, but ukiona na 10,000, 15,000, 20,000 passport inatoka. So that means kuko na watu wana sabotage hizo mashini. Si ati hakuna mashini. Because, let me ask you, Leo, if someone kama ni diplomatic, or this MPs, they go, all their passports zimeja page visa. Then anatuma mtu foreign affairs. Kesho nataka passport. Sijui kenye utafanya, jua venye utafanya, but I want my passport. Anapewa passport. Why can't person mwenye anaenda as a student, ama mtu mwenye anaenda Saudi Arabia, asipewa passport kama huyu mwingine? They are meant to part almost like with 20,000. Mtu ameenda ameuza ng'ombe. Ameenda kisha akuja peana 20,000. Ule mwenye anampatia 20,000 haijasainiwa, sijui bado haijatoka kwa mashini. Page zenye ziko ni zile za 64, hakuna wewe ulilipia ya 40 ya 32. You know such stories. Now the thing is, for someone like Kindiki, and I told someone, it is not the issue of the passport bringing. It's Kindiki not taking action. Then the another thing, he knows who are hiding those things. Because mimi nilikuwa najua passport ilikuwa ina print yangu Delaru till today, but still Delaru. Delaru left. Unajua venye mashini ya passport ni kubwa. They left. They gave it to an independent contractor and is a Kalenjin. Sorry to say, but it is true. Huyu mtu hizi passport anasema ati makaratasi hazina watermark, makaratasi sijui nini, cover, sijui crown, sijui your rangi liisha. Yani, there are so many excuses. The issue is, what was there before Uhuru government and this Ruto government? Because everything is just distorted. Title, it takes you 10 to 3 years.
Utakufa before upate hata title yako na umenunua shamba.
Nishauza shamba. Kupata ID wa mwenye amemaliza shule. Me, I used to remember what ID we used to come to school. When you're in Form 4, they pick your fingerprints.
Yeah, actually, it used to be issued in school, actually.
Yes. Now you go to your nearest Huduma Center. Unaenda hapo chief anakuambia umpatie 5,000. Ndio ajaribu kujazia ile karatasi. You know, there's that paper which used to fill. Yeah. Yes, you have to do 5,000. Then you need to pay an extra 1,000 shillings so that your Maisha card is out. So you wonder, is it because there is cartel? Ama is it bureaucracy? Because you cannot point a finger what is happening.
Yeah.
Leo, Atasai NHIF ni issue. You pay your money, but you cannot access services.
That's the problem. You're having a card, but you can't be treated when you go to the hospitals. Actually, some of them, they don't even want to help you when they hear that you're having NHIF. They'll tell you need to have cash because you're going to pay for the charges on your own. Yet you pay the premiums every month.
Yes, and yet when you pay that cash, wanakuambia machine imeharibika, haiwezi print card. I mean, haiwezi print receipt. Ama wanakuambia machine ya receipt imeharibika. Yes, Leo, when you go to the hospital and you pay that money, which is called a cost, make sure umetoka na your receipt ya copy.
Okay.
Yes, because yes. Now the thing is, and nilikuwa nauliza, what is happening with this nini? Because everything is distorted. Right now, pensioners walikuwa nalipago tarehe 5. Leo, can I shock you, like pensioners say hawalipangwi?
Aya.
You have to, like your dad, if you was working at Kenya Railways, he has to come all the way from Kisumu, akuje Nairobi head office.
Really?
That is so. Why is pension not being paid? Because when he goes to Equity Bank, watamwambia aje, by the way, your pension administrator, who is RBA, who are called whoever, they've not put money in your account. Then they go, they tell you, Kenya Railways haijatoa hiyo pesa. I don't understand. Everything is just distorted. Everything.
The broken systems.
It is a broken system. And it started with something called a finance bill. It started from there.
No, there's something that happened funnily, even though as we are winding, something happened funnily. I saw some members of parliament demonstrating with these avocado farmers. But
yes,
the tax, the electrical tax that we are complaining of, they're the same MPs who passed this thing in parliament. Does it mean they passed things that they've not read and they don't know its implication? Because you imagine Stella when they ulipiga kura for this bill to pass, then this bill inaumiza watu wako, and you're the one leading them to demonstrate against your own bill.
Now,
it was so
let me give you a saddening one. But hata hiyo ilirushwa nje. I think it is going to be elected in sometime in September. Mtu wa watu who is called a farmer. You cannot sell your produce with a receipt or a pesa. You must go through an e-TIMS.
Yeah.
The e-TIMS shows you that kilo ni ngapi. Tuseme kilo ya itagwaje mchele. Ni 200 shillings.
Yeah.
You need to 5% the 200 shillings. That's how much? 15 shillings.
15 shillings, yeah.
It's 15 shillings.
5% of that is 10 shillings, eh?
10 shillings, yes. 10 shillings. Now, for example, you have 100 kilos or 200 kilos, which you are going to sell, let's say to an institution or a supermarket and everything. Hiyo pesa yote nilipwe, alafu niliitisha tinga na ilikosa kupita kwa sababu mvua ilinyesha, alafu hiyo tax nalipo na barabara yangu ijatengenezwa. That's unfair, because even the farmers were saying inaitagwaje, nisema kutakuja na fertilizer ya ile tax free, zero rated. Remember,
zero rated,
there is a division and there is zero rated. Zero rated haina tax. Exemption, there's just small amount which you are exempted as a farmer. Then mkakuja mkatuambia mtatupatia watu wa kuleta kununua madawa. kwa agro. So there were dawas which they were removed by the government because they were saying it is causing cancer and what and what and what. Now, the ministry, they are meant to come to your home to do the survey. Waone ni dawa gani itakuwa suitable ya kuspray whatever. Nothing is there. Then nikuja niende nichukue transport. Huyu anicharge transport, aniambie petroli imepanda. Leo kwenye hiyo gari itapita, itaniambia hapana, tafuta tinga juu inaweza pita hiyo pothole. Then ukuja unikate 2,000. 2,000 yenye unanikata within 10 months or 1 year hakuna barabara. The farmers were like, it does not make any sense because if you add my produce, people cannot afford to eat at home. People cannot afford. Kama I remember there's a time nyanya ilikuanga moja 25 shillings. It was a luxury. Moja hivi na ilikuwa inakaa plums because farmers were being frustrated. Now the thing is, even the county, they were told, the county were like, anyway, if you make these farmers to pay that tax, they won't bring the they won't bring the produce kwa soko. That means soko haita generate pesa. Itakuwa empty.
Thank you. I think that is where we are headed as a government, as a country, which is really sad. But let us hope that things are going to change and we are going to see things getting better. That is what we are hoping too. So to everyone who joined today, I just want to say thank you. And as you are enjoying your weekend, I wish you a happy weekend and a blessed Sabbath to the Adventist. You know, it's already morning, and as you prepare for your Sabbath, have a blessed one. And let us meet tomorrow, maybe in the evening, same time, same place, as we try to look into what is happening in this country. But what I know is that the politics has really changed, and people are now realizing that citizens, they have a responsibility. The leaders are friends. They have their own groups. They take care of each other. So it is us who we should not, as Madago says, siasa weka kwa lungs, because nobody expected they'll be able to see William Ruto and Raila Odinga, including even the deputy president who kept on even telling people how he is not ready even to shake Raila's hand. But it happened. They not only shook hands, they went herding together. We saw them taking care of cows there in Uganda. So Stella, your closing remarks as we wind up.
Closing remarks for whoever is going to be, they've been given notices. Wahame uko, whether you in Starehe and what, please go and see your MP, your MCA, whoever. They go and try and put an injunction so that you're not evicted. But to be safe, the court order, you can obey, or if you choose not to obey, you have a legal channel to go to court and ask for injunction. If the court cannot listen to you, you can able even to put something called a substitutive service. You can do it in the newspaper so that the court can see that there are people intending to have an injunction because the housing was found unconstitutional. But it will be so surprising to see if this thing is still continuing and the court is being defied because of their orders. So what I can also advise those people, if you know you're willing to pay for that housing fund, or you call it a levy, just try to be very careful. What I can tell you, just try and put your money in good use, or you can able to put your money in the money market. The time you feel this thing is okay, you can transfer your money market to your housing. But for now, if you pay, you could be continuing paying, remember that money you are not going to be refunded because it was found unconstitutional. The only money which can be refunded, it was what you were deducted from your salary. So if kama wewe ni mama mboga ulienda ukatoa hiyo pesa na ukapeana, itabidi sasa utakuwa unaingia kwa hiyo ofisi unatoka. The other thing, try to tell people they have to be very wise and they should know, they should sit and read the constitution and also to understand why the legal framework for the housing will not work in Kenya. The only way we can, the affordable housing, the only way the housing issue can be resolved in Kenya is going through social housing. So if an organization or maybe if a government institution, let's say like people of treasury, if they can build houses, they can be rental at a minimal price, that will be better for the time being. But what I'm trying to tell you, if you try to put your eggs in one basket of affordable housing, that can be a bad cause for you. So the only thing I can advise people, the only way to go, and we felt that affordable housing is only for the selected few. And if you feel that affordable housing you can afford, I can tell people, just do your market survey. You see what type of affordable, because I know there are a lot of development companies are doing affordable housing. You choose to go off plan, but do your due diligence before you put your money where it's supposed to be. Don't just go hurry because someone has shown you things on the 3D screens, how the house will be going. Do your due diligence. Check that land if it belongs to that developer. If it is a joint venture, you should know who is joining the venture, the developer and the owner of the land. So just in case your money gets lost, you are able where just your money is lost. You know who you're supposed to account for. But for the affordable housing for the government, I will tell people, take caution. Take caution, because this thing has not met the threshold of the Mwananchi needs, and it has not figured even a pint, not a pint, an ounce of legal framework. It has not been explained. So do not risk to put your money at boma yangu. Hiyo pesa itakunywa maji. That's my closing remarks.
Thank you so much, Stella, for joining, and let us meet today. So from this end, let me just say goodbye and thank you, everyone.
Okay.